he's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP. Like, what the fuck? He's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP. Like, what the fuck? Happy 316 day. It is March 16th. You know, I was hoping I would be sitting here tonight talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin making an appearance on Monday Night Raw. They're in Texas on 316. And then he went on Busted Open Radio earlier. He actually did a couple of different interviews and he made it very clear that he was not going to be on Raw. And you know why? Because that is a man who doesn't care. And he is very content in his life and to do his racing and to do all the things that make him happy and hang out with his cats and clean up horse shit. And he don't need this. So Stone Cold does not need to be on Raw, which is too bad. So we didn't get to hear the glass shatter tonight. But I want to wish a very happy 316 day to all of you. And actually, I would like to wish a very happy 316 day to this man. Oh my God. What a start. Holy shit. Now that is how you start a stream. That is how you start a stream right there. We have Boots with the $316 bomb. Wow. Don't really know what else to say about that. Boots just came in and he rendered me speechless here, which is not a good thing because I just started the review. Thank you very much. Boots, you're getting us off to a hot start here, brother. Nobody like you. Only you. I know Boots was very disappointed that we didn't have a Stone Cold cameo on the show tonight. But I'll tell you what we did have. As I gather myself here after that bomb was dropped. We had Roman Reigns and we had Brock Lesnar. Both of them were on the show tonight. We'll start with Roman Reigns because it came down yet again to a closing segment involving Roman Reigns and CM Punk. We are now under 5 weeks, I believe, away from WrestleMania. And the question is, in the remaining appearances that he has, what are they going to do to keep this thing hot, right? Because that first segment they had in the ring last month was tremendous. And in one segment, they sold me on their match for WrestleMania. You could feel the tension. It felt like these two guys really, they don't like each other, right? We talked about this and the importance of having matches on the WrestleMania card where you can believe, you can have that buy-in, right? And I had that with Punk and Roman. And then a few weeks ago, they had another segment, right? A couple weeks ago. And that was the one where CM Punk ended it by talking about how I'm going to bury you. And you're not going to be alone anymore because I'm going to bury you next to your father. And when that show went off the air, Roman had just a look of murder in his eye. He was so angry. He didn't know what to do with himself. And it's like, boy, he better get one in on old Phil over here the next time we see him on TV. He better be throwing hands. Because if somebody went out there and disrespected my family like that, I know that would be what I would do, right? I'd be knocking his block off in the middle of the ring. Last week, Roman wasn't there. We had the segment with Punk and the Usos. So tonight we had Punk and Roman again. And I could tell you that, you know how when you're going up the roller coaster, you get that slow ascent, right? You get that queasy feeling in the pit of your stomach, right? But you're accelerating a little bit more and you're going up and up and up and up. And then you reach the peak and then you start to slope down a little bit. And I felt like that's what we started to see here on Raw tonight at the end of the show. I don't want to say that they're already out of really good ideas on where to go with this, but this did not deliver in the way that their past segments have delivered. We had Roman Reigns out there mentioning Phil a whole bunch of times, right? Phil. And CM Punk telling him, well, I guess you love calling me by my government name because you think it's some sort of insult, but unless you're a friend or a family member, you don't get to call me Phil. So Roman kept calling him Phil. And we were wondering, you know, what's going to happen here? Is Roman going to attack him? Is he going to get physical? Is he going to mention Larry the dog? I was convinced Larry the dog was going to get name dropped here on this show, right? I thought for sure we were going to get a Larry the dog mention. No Larry the Dog mention. You know what it was that set CM Punk off of all the things that Roman Reigns has said about him? Of all the mean-spirited, insulting things he has said about CM Punk, he called him old. That's what got CM Punk triggered enough to punch him in the face. He called him old. That was his sin. In a promo where Roman Reigns mentioned his wife, he mentioned Punk's wife. That was okay. But you call him old, that's it. That's just a red line you don't cross. That to me was a little goofy. I mean, I almost think you should have flipped the two of them, where he could have worked AJ Lee in there in some way where you mention his wife. Okay, that's where you don't want to go. But evidently that was okay. But don't call Phil old because he doesn't like that very much. Maybe we know what Jack Perry said to him backstage at Wembley. Yeah, I didn't think this was nearly as good as their past segments. And look, not every segment is going to be a home run. I thought this one was kind of weak. It does make me wonder now. You know, Roman's back on the show next week, and then he'll be on the show in 2 weeks in Madison Square Garden. I think he skips a week, and then he's back for the last Raw before WrestleMania. So he's got a handful of appearances. At some point, you would think that these two are going to throw down. Maybe they're holding off on it until we get a little bit closer, which is understandable. But I am starting to worry now. You know, are they going to run out of material if they continue to take their time and they're going back and forth saying a lot of the same stuff? And here's what's funny about it, right? So and I'm sure a lot of other people have talked about how, man, this WrestleMania build so far, what little we've gotten with Punk and Roman has been carrying the build here, right? I mean, that's the one that I'm most excited for. And then we saw what happened with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton on SmackDown last Friday, right? And that great angle where he turned heel, his vicious attack, and Cody is bleeding all over the place. And it almost feels like, to me, it would be kind of funny if we are in a position in the next couple of weeks where the two main events kind of flip, where the Punk and Roman stuff just kind of gets a little old, and Cody and Randy in the build to their match, depending on where they go with it, actually becomes kind of the hot match to follow heading into WrestleMania. And that becomes the match that a lot of people look at and go, okay, that's the one I want to see. You know, that's a night 2 main event, not a night 1 main event. So we'll see. And I think it's good to have 2 competing main events where you have the parties involved who probably are looking at it going, okay, I want my match to be the one that's the most talked about. You know, a little competition here, you know, between the guys on Raw and the guys on SmackDown. I think that would be great. And Cody and Randy is a match I've been waiting a long time for since Cody came back to the company. So that will be very interesting to follow, you know, where the build takes both of these main events in the next few weeks. And if it feels like there's more of an excitement now for Cody and Randy than there is for Punk and Roman, right? We're not there yet. We had the one segment with Cody and Randy, but let's keep an eye on that and see where that goes, because there's a lot of great potential there as well. But I'll tell you what the best thing on the entire show was. The best thing on the entire show had nothing to do with Roman Reigns or CM Punk. They were not the highlight of the show. The show actually peaked in the opening segment. The opening segment was the best thing on the entire show. I thought it was tremendous. And we got our answer. I was wondering if they're going to make us wait a few more weeks. The wait is over. We now know who Brock Lesnar will be wrestling at WrestleMania. And they really wanted you to think it was going to be Seth Rollins. I'm like, we got our answer. I'll bet that Brock's coming out. And sure enough, and they teased you that we were going to get Brock and Seth. And then they pulled the rug out from underneath you. And the lights went out. And the drum beat. And out comes Oba Femi. And Oba Femi, he came down to the ring for a confrontation with Brock Lesnar that resulted in him laying Brock Lesnar out, not before he propelled him high up into the air, and leaving him laying flat on his back, pointing up at the WrestleMania sign, and it is now official. At WrestleMania, one-on-one for the first time ever, it will be Brock Lesnar taking on Oba Femi. And to that, I applaud them. This should have been the easiest thing in the world. I mean, it's kind of like grading on a curve, but still. There's 1,000,001 ways they could have fucked this up. And by the way, there's still ways they could fuck this up. But they made the right decision. Thankfully, they made the right call. Of all the options that were available to them, this is the one that, as a fan, appealed to me the most. This is the one that I feel is going to be beneficial in the long run, depending on how it plays out. You have a guy right now, an Oba Femi, that you chose to call up to the main roster from NXT. Now, okay? Because you can see that this guy is the future. When you look at certain names in the company right now across all the brands that you say, okay, we could build around this person for the next 5-10 years, Oba's at the head of that list. Right? You could look at a Braun Breaker, or you could look at certain people that you can pick out right on the roster. Oba is going to be at the top of the list. The guy goes out there. You heard the fans in San Antonio tonight, right? They played their part perfectly. They knew what their job was. And when he came out, it felt like a big fucking deal. Just like it did in the Royal Rumble when we got the confrontation between the two of them. And to his credit, Brock Lesnar, he could not have done a better job of putting this guy over as a monster, as a beast, as a worthy opponent, a worthy adversary for him on this great WrestleMania stage. This is not a match that feels less than. This is not a match that will underwhelm when you find out about it. This is a match that will get you genuinely excited. It's like a match between you have Brock Lesnar and what Brock Lesnar once was. Or you might think he still is. But Brock's been around a long time. But Oba Femi is that guy. This is the right match to do. Is he going to win? Is he going to lose? There's plenty of time to talk about that. But the most important thing, I think, was just getting the match done. This is a big attraction now on that WrestleMania card. And I think as the first night goes, in terms of setting it up, they could not have done a better job. They could not have done this better. And in the right building, in front of the right crowd. Just, this was so fucking great. And there was nothing else on the show that even came close, to what we got in that opening segment. So kudos to them for that. Becky Lynch is back. She put a beat down on AJ Lee after her Intercontinental title defense tonight, her first title defense. It also became very clear tonight, unfortunately, we are getting Brock and Oba, but pretty clear, we are not going to get Io Sky and Asuka, which I was hoping for at WrestleMania. It seemed pretty clear from some of the segments tonight that we are going to get Asuka and Kairi in a multi-team women's tag team championship match. And Io Sky is going to be left doing, I don't know, wrestling Raquel Rodriguez, apparently. Nothing is set in stone yet, but that was disappointing. If that's what they have in mind, that's disappointing. I would have liked to have seen them doing something else with Io. I mean, look, as of right now, Io has no match at WrestleMania, so we'll see where the dust settles on this. But I didn't like that. But there's another name. We didn't see him on the show last week. And we didn't see him on the show tonight either. His name is Gunther. He's just some guy. He's some guy. He wrestled John Cena in his final match, beat him. He wrestled AJ Styles in his final match, beat him. Less than 5 weeks away from WrestleMania. No mention of what his opponent is going to be, what his match is going to look like, what direction we're going in with this guy. There's been a lot of chatter about Rey Mysterio. The stuff with Dragon Lee a few weeks ago, it certainly looked like Rey Mysterio was going to be potentially his opponent at WrestleMania. Except that they really haven't interacted at all. Rey Mysterio suffered a couple of broken ribs at the end of January in a match on Raw against Austin Theory. That is why Rey Mysterio has not been on TV. If Rey Mysterio is going to be Gunther's opponent at WrestleMania, and it may not even be possible. I mean, apparently he's doing better, but I'm not sure what his health status is going to be with about a month left to go. I mean, there's not a long time left before we get to WrestleMania. I don't know what his status is going to be. If they're waiting on Rey Mysterio to come back, it would explain why he hasn't even been on television the last 2 weeks. But what a shitty situation for Gunther to be in. When you have pushed this guy in such a way where you want him to come off as a world beater, and you put him in a position to beat two of the biggest stars in your company, and one of the biggest stars in the history of your company, right? And to not only beat him, but tap him out in his final match. If you were to tell people the night of Saturday night's main event, when he beat John Cena in the way that he did, which I thought was fucking terrible, the way they did it. Still feel that way. But if you were to tell those people that we would be a month out from WrestleMania and there would be no clear opponent for Gunther, I don't think that a single one of those people would believe you. They would look at you and say, you're a liar. I don't believe you. Because it would be just, you wouldn't be able to wrap your head around that. But here we are. But the fact that that might be what we're doing here, where, oh, Ray's hurt and they're just waiting to find out. But why are we in this position in the first place? Why is Gunther against Rey Mysterio even the best thing that you could come up with for this show? If in fact that is the idea. We don't know that that's the idea. But that's my point. What are we doing here? Why are we even in this situation with Gunther to begin with? It's embarrassing that we're heading into their biggest show of the year. And this man, he's not even part of the conversation. Nobody is talking about him. They're talking about Cody and Randy. They're talking about Punk and Roman. They're talking about Oba and Brock. No one's even really thinking much about Gunther. How sad is that? We'll see next week. Maybe he'll be back on the show next week. I don't know. It's crazy to me. You know, and I see people mentioning Ilya Dragunov. You know what? At this point, I know it doesn't even really make any sense. And they're not on the same brand. But I mean, when has that meant anything? I would be totally fine with that. Just to do a random ass match between Gunther. I mean, there's history there, but you do a match between Gunther and Ilya Dragunov and just let them go out there and have a fucking banger at WrestleMania and beat the piss out of each other for 15 minutes. I'll guarantee you it's better than whatever they're going to have him doing. Fine with me. I mean, they clearly are building to Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes for the U.S. title. So he seems occupied right now. But you get no argument out of me. I mean, I'd be totally fine with that. They're not going to do it. Yeah, LA Knight. That's another one. Gunther and LA Knight. Just take the two guys they seemingly have no direction for. Put them in a match together. We already saw that match. That was the finals of the John Cena tournament. We saw it then. It's not worth doing again. But I suppose if they end up with no other... No better idea for him than fuck. I mean, what else are you going to do? Anyway, I thought on the whole, it was a good show tonight. It started out hot and it really cooled down, but I thought there was more good than bad. Between the opening segment, again, the closing segment wasn't bad. It just wasn't as good as the first two times. You know, it's almost like we're in the law of diminishing returns phase now with this. But we had a killer title match tonight with Penta defending the Intercontinental Championship against Dragon Lee. And this is coming off that great match that Dragon Lee had with Gunther. So Dragon Lee's in this weird phase where he's going out there and having these killer matches that he never wins. He lost to Gunther, he lost to Penta. But hey, at least he's able to go out there and have fun matches. I enjoyed that match. So I thought more good than bad on this show tonight. This is your Raw Netflix review for March 16th, 2026. I am the Solomonster. It is 316 day. Give me a hell yeah in the chat, since Stone Cold did not give us one tonight. Like and subscribe. We are approaching 91,000 subs here on YouTube, so help me get there quicker. Super chats are open. Of course, shout out again to Boots, who dropped the big bomb. The 316 bomb. I don't know that anybody's going to beat that, but Boots, you are the man. I'll be reading your super chats a little bit later on. Let's get the wheel up here. The wheel o' fun. And see what the goal is going to be tonight. We got to do Be the Booker tonight. We did it last night at the end of the fucking Revolution review. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, so... we could do it then. We could do it now. 550 likes. That's actually more than what the goal was last night. All right, well, there you go. 550 likes. We are currently at 340. That's very doable. I believe in you. I know you can get the job done. Yeah, I mentioned Revolution. Let me just give a quick plug for my AEW Revolution review. I did go live last night. maybe the last time you see me going live for one of those shows, but thank you for staying up late with me. Those of you who did, we still had well north of 1,300 or 1,400 people. So thank you for that. The full review, including my thoughts on Texas death, are up right now elsewhere here on the YouTube channel. So go check that out. And of course, tomorrow, you got another podcast from me. And we got a lot to talk about. Coming out of Revolution, coming out of tonight. That'll be on the Uncrowned Wrestling Show, episode 6, over on the Ariel Helwani Show feed. Make sure you're subbed over there. That way, when the show gets pushed out, you will get notified. And you can have another Solomonster eargasm. That's what I like to call it. Yeah. I give people an eargasm. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, let's get into the show here, shall we? We started out, actually, the way we started this show out was not good. I saw this and I said, this is not going to be good. Thankfully, I was wrong. But we had the masked men. Yes, the Putty Patrol was back. All the masked men were around ringside and they were dancing around. And then Seth Rollins unmasked, so we knew right away, okay, Seth is here. And we actually got to hear from him. So he finally speaks. Seth says that he created the Vision, and so he will be the one to kill the Vision. Please do. He doesn't care if they're on the shelf like Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and he doesn't care if they're a hanger-on like Logan Paul or Austin Theory. But if Logan stands next to Paul Heyman, he can consider himself marked for death. I'm pretty sure I saw a Steven Seagal movie by that name many years ago. I'm almost positive I did. So Seth said that he had the satisfaction of hitting Paul Heyman with a chair and stomping his fat head. And that brought out the fat head. Here comes Paul Heyman. And he don't look too good. Paul Heyman walks out here. It kind of reminded me of that episode of SmackDown where he was with Solo when Solo was leading his crew at the very beginning. I guess the early version of the MFTs before they morphed into whatever they are now. And he said that he's like method acting, where he had intentionally deprived himself of sleep. He basically got no sleep the night before. He stayed up all night. He looked awful, right, in that SmackDown segment. That was where they put him through the table with the Shield powerbomb. I would not at all be surprised if he did the same thing here. If he stayed up all night to make himself look fucking awful, one of his eyes was bloodshot, he had a cut on the bridge of his nose. He looked like, you know what he looked like, honestly? He looked like he had just gotten off a bender and taken a beating in a back alley somewhere. He looked like a businessman, like a stockbroker, who was down on his luck. Market's not doing too well for him. And he blew all of his money, and then he got the shit kicked out of him in a back alley somewhere. So Seth says that Heyman thinks he's smarter than him. He says letting Heyman into his inner circle was the worst move that he ever made. Yes, he looked like he had pink eye. That's exactly what he looked like. It was just the one eye. I think it was the right eye. Heyman has pink eye. Stay away from me. That shit is contagious. So letting Heyman into his inner circle. Worst move. Oh, God, inner circle. It's bringing back memories. Worst move that he's ever made. And he'll make Paul pay every day until he leaves the business. Seth is going to cut him out like the cancer that he is. And Heyman then speaks up. Very meekly. He says, I wasn't going to come out here, but I also wasn't going to miss this for the world. Said, I'm effing with you because you effed with me. And he goes, it's F-A-F-O, F-A-F-O, F-A-F-5. And we hear Brock Lesnar's music. And I hang my head at this point and I'm like, well, we just got our answer for WrestleMania. Here comes Brock Lesnar. With the cowboy hat, he takes his cowboy hat off, does his little dance for the pyro, hands the hat and the jacket that he slowly takes off to Paul Heyman, and he moves down to ringside. Now, the masked men are all over the place. There are masked men that are in the ring, But there are also masked men that are all over ringside. And he just goes nuts on these guys. I mean, this was as reckless as you could possibly. I mean, he is throwing these guys around. There were a couple of guys that he threw where one of them, I think, landed on the steps. And then there was another one that he threw over his head and he like hit the top part of the barricade and landed on his fucking neck. Like, it was like fucking brutal. I'm like, my God, someone is going to get their fucking neck broken here. So he wipes all of them out and he gets into the ring. And so there were like 4 more, I think, in the ring. And he's suplexing them around and Seth is just standing there watching. So now it comes down to Seth and Brock. And they are the only ones in the ring. And the lights go out. Oba Femi's music hits. And I'm like, they got me. They got me. They swerved me. They swerved me, bro. So here comes Oba. And he's strutting down to the ring, right? He's doing the Oba strut. He's got that big ass necklace that he wears around his neck. I feel like if I wore a necklace, I mean, that thing is fucking huge. If I wore that necklace, I'd be doing the podcast down here. Like, it would be weighing me down. But of course, he's a big guy, so it's not a big deal for him. So he's strutting down to the ring. And the fans are chanting his name like they used to do Goldberg back in the Oba. Oh, and they're barking to the tune of his music. They're chanting his name and they're barking. These fans in San Antonio, Texas, they knew the assignment. They had one job and they did their job well. This was awesome. So now Oba and Seth are in the ring. Brock has this look on his face. Like, he looks terrified. He doesn't, he's looking this way, he's looking that way. When the fans were chanting Oba's name, Brock, the way he was selling this, like when Lesnar is on and he knows what his job is, he's great. So he's looking at the fans as they're chanting this guy's name, like, you know, he has this look of just sheer intimidation on his face. So Seth dips out of the ring as soon as Lesnar takes a step towards him. But he's got his back turned to Oba. And as soon as Brock turns back around towards Oba, Oba propels him up into the air. He catches him on his shoulders, right? A position that Brock Lesnar has not been in a very long time. And he proceeds to drop him with the fall from grace and just slams him down to the mat. Oba then places a boot on Brock's chest. You can actually see Brock telling him, put your foot on my chest. And he puts his boot on Brock's chest and he points up at the WrestleMania sign. And the fans are going nuts. And it appears, we found out later on in the show, it is official, but clearly it appears that Oba Femi has answered the open challenge for WrestleMania. And it will, in fact, be Oba Femi one-on-one with Brock Lesnar. We don't have to wonder. We don't have to worry. We don't have to, speculate on who the opponent is going to be. Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? Are they going to do Seth? Are they going to do LA Knight? It's Oba Femi. And I could not be happier about that. Michael Cole and Corey Graves were at ringside. They were marking out over this whole thing. I thought they sold it great. This was fucking tremendous. And what a swerve, right? To make you think it's going to be Brock and Seth. And that they may not even make it to WrestleMania because Seth is about to get killed, right? But they made you think, okay, this open challenge, it's not an open challenge anymore, right? Brock is going to make Seth Rollins his target, and then to hit that music, and out comes Oba. I thought this was very well done. And something else I noticed at the end of this segment, which I thought was tremendous, they had a close-up. I don't know how many of you noticed this. They had a close-up of Oba's face, and you could see what appeared to be tears streaming down his face. It looked like the man was crying. He was crying tears of joy because he had to know, like, this is an incredible moment for him to be in this position and to get that kind of reaction and for everything, like the stars to align and everything in this segment to go great, the power bomb and everything. The man looked like he was literally crying in the ring. It was just this incredible moment. And again, I just can't say enough good things about how Brock and everybody really just put Oba over here in the biggest way possible, because that's what it is. I mean, that's what wrestling is. Yes, Oba's a big, scary looking guy, but you still need people to help you along the way. You're not in there by yourself. You're working with other people. It's every bit as important. You could do everything right, but if your opponent treats you as a joke, or they laugh you off, or they make you look like a fucking jabron, you're dead in the water. You need to have somebody in there, and in this case, Brock, who doesn't do this very often, who can really sell it, right? Brock can sell. He has to sell the fear. It's not like Danhausen walked out and he's just kind of laughing it off, right? There's nothing to laugh at here because he knows business right now. Business just picked up, as JR would say. And so Brock did a tremendous job with this. So A+ opening segment. And not to say the entire show was terrible, but it was all downhill from here. There was no topping what they did here in the opening segment. They had one job and they did it well.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
Not about that segment. Quite the opposite. Hey, Noel, thank you. Thank you for the super chat, love. Appreciate it. Hey, Joshua, welcome to the channel. You picked a good segment to come in on. They showed footage of El Grande Americano Kaiser winning the Rey de Reyes Fatal 4-Way on Saturday with some help from Rayo and Bravo, who handcuffed Americano Gable to one of the guardrails in the crowd. He's still super over. I mean, Kaiser in Mexico, in that gimmick, is still very over. That's why I say, eventually when the mask comes off Gable, I'm fine with keeping it on Kaiser for the foreseeable future. Because what he's doing is working for him. It's Gable that I think at this point we need to just sort of move on to something else with him. But before we get there, we had Americano Gable against Americano Kaiser tonight, one-on-one here on Raw. Now, late in the match, OG Americano's moonsault got blocked, but he grabbed an ankle lock. Grande Kaiser, he got to the ropes, though. So OG Americano sent Kaiser into Bravo, and then he caught Kaiser with the Chaos Theory German, and he had him pinned. But the problem is, Rayo had the referee distracted. So OG takes care of Rayo outside. Bravo, in the meantime, he helps load up Americano Kaiser's mask with the metal plate, right? Gable has no idea. So OG hits the diving headbutt off the top, but what he didn't know is that the mask was loaded. So when he comes down, he headbutts Kaiser and knocks himself out. Now, the only problem is, the camera was right there on it. He came up short on the headbutt. So it looked like he didn't connect with him at all. And then he's just laying there unconscious. So it didn't look good. But that was the idea behind it. So he's out cold. Kaiser covers him, and he gets the 3 count. And it still feels to me like we're building to a mask match at WrestleMania. We had the first singles match tonight, and we had the bullshit finish. So, of course, we're going to get a second match. There's no reason to do this match at WrestleMania and not have it as a mask match. This needs to end at WrestleMania. This feud between them needs to end at WrestleMania. There is no reason to continue to drag this out beyond that. And then rip the mask off Chad Gable, and let's move past this. He's better than this. Think about it. I know he missed all those months, but he's been doing the Americano shit now, if you think about it, for almost a year. It's time to move on. So outside the building, a car pulls up, and Roman Reigns gets out. And the Usos are there to greet him, just like old times. So they smile at each other. Roman tells them, you did the right thing. And then Roman breaks the 4th wall, and he grabs the camera. And he looks right at us, right in the camera. And he tells everybody in the Bloodline who's watching that they should all be offended by what Punk said about Sika. But he said, at WrestleMania, Punk belongs to me. So we'll see him later on in the show when we get to the Roman and Punk segment.
I am the learning tree. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, dude. Dude here, 73. The $12 learning tree. Boy, people got real quiet about the Jericho stuff, huh? No mention of him anymore. Probably just the way he likes it. One of these days his contract will be over and he'll very quietly be removed from the AEW site. And then one day when people least expect it, there he is. He'll just pop up on TV if he leaves. We don't know if he's going to leave. Danhausen came out. He got his entrance, his music, and everything. This was during the commercial break, for those of you who didn't see it. So Danhausen comes out, and he has a T-shirt gun. Actually, he didn't have it. He had to run backstage to grab it. He comes back out with a T-shirt gun, and he fires it. But it only had one shirt loaded. So he goes, wait a minute. And he walks over, and they have a fucking, like a cannon, a giant T-shirt cannon with at least half a dozen shirts in there. He looked like fucking Rambo. We'll call him Danbo. And he's like, you know, he's like, and he's like, shirts are flying all over the place. And so eventually all the shirts are out of the cannon. And then he urged people to go to WWEshop.com to buy his new shirt. And if you don't, he'll put a curse on you. And he goes, Danhausen 316 says, I just cursed your ass. So then they blacked out the lights in the arena, right? To signal that we're coming back from break, segment's over. And for whatever reason, Danhausen, he runs off to the side of the stage. And by the way, he had one of these headset mic gimmicks, like DDP when he was doing his, what was the gimmick he did? Oh God. The hell do you call it? It wasn't like an exercise guy. It was a motivational speaker. Right. He had one of those on. So he was muttering something to himself. Like he realized he went the wrong way. And then he quickly ran and he went backstage this was fucking weird. This whole thing was fucking weird. But you know what? Danhausen is weird. So it kind of works. We got a video promo after this from Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan was cutting a promo here on Finn Balor. She's wrestling Stephanie Vaquer at WrestleMania. She should be cutting promos on her WrestleMania opponent, but she was cutting a promo instead on Finn Balor, who was not on the show tonight, by the way. And she let Finn Balor in on a little secret. She said that this has been her plan since the very beginning, when she first joined the Judgment Day. She put up with him out of respect for his relationship with Dom. She sees him, she knows when he's lying and when he's scheming. Finn got soft. He got pathetic. And it made her sick calling him family. They betrayed him because he taught them how to. JD McDonough is free now from Finn holding him down. Now he can soar on his own. So Dom will get his Intercontinental title back. And Raquel Rodriguez, she is a future champion. And at WrestleMania, Liv is going to become the new women's world champion. And the family has her back. And without Finn, they are better than ever. No mention here of Roxanne Perez. Man, she's just been forgotten about. The family has forgotten about Roxanne. No one has even mentioned her name. Michael Cole then mentioned that Dominic Mysterio managed to retain his AAA Mega Championship on Saturday. But he is not medically cleared to compete, and he has not been seen at all tonight. Penta, though, will defend his Intercontinental title here on Raw, but against who? We don't know. So we cut to Jimmy and Jay and Roman Reigns. They're backstage talking about CM Punk. Jimmy says that Punk calls Roman a part-time this and a part-time that. And Roman asks them, you know, how often do you think that my father, right, Sika, was around when I was a kid? He goes, better yet, you guys know. How much was your dad around, right? Because they were on the road. You know the feeling. When we were kids, our dads were on the road, paying their dues. He goes, we paid our dues. Roman says people can call him a part-timer, but he wants to be a full-time dad for his kids, his wife and his children. That is his legacy now. And Jay says that Punk still owes them an apology. And he's all wound up, you know, as he usually is. He goes, Punk still owes us an apology, right? He wants that apology. So Roman says, I don't really need one, but I'll get one for the family. Because what is Punk going to do? Beat me up? And they all had a good laugh about it. We had AJ Lee, one-on-one with Bayley. This was for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, her first title defense. Michael Cole pointed out on commentary that This is their second match. Their first match was back in 2013 when AJ Lee was the Divas champion. She paid a visit down to NXT and she wrestled a young star named Bayley. So this is their second match. AJ went for, at one point, a what I would call a not-so-shining wizard. Bayley, though, countered out of it, delivered a knee of her own. AJ blocked a rose plant attempt. Bayley, though, came back with a Bayley to belly, only for a 2 count. So Bayley and AJ, they start slapping each other and ramming each other's face down into the mat. AJ hits a kick. Shining Wizard goes for the Black Widow. Bayley got out with a side slam. She went up top, and she came diving off with her diving elbow, but there's nobody home. AJ moves out of the way. Back to the Black Widow, and AJ is stretching that arm. She's pulling back, and Bayley has no choice but to tap out. So AJ Lee retains her championship. Bayley had a better match on Saturday, honestly. She was a surprise opponent for Flammer, who was the Reina de Reyes, or Reina de Reyes, rather. The match happened on Rey de Reyes. But she's been champion for like 940-something days. And I mentioned this on the Sound Off. You know, when Bayley came out, JBL was on commentary. And so Bayley and Flammer are in the ring and they're about to have a match. And JBL is just going nuts on commentary. He goes, boy, this would be like Shohei Ohtani playing Nolan Ryan. And I'm like, can we mute his mic, please? I think we should cut his mic for the remainder of the match. Like, I like Bayley, but she's no Shohei Ohtani. Okay, can we please like calm down with the hyperbole? I couldn't believe my ears. When I heard him say that, I could not believe my ears. That match was better than this. I still thought this was fine. During the commercial break, they were still in the ring, and AJ puts her hand out for a handshake. I didn't know which version of Bayley we were going to get. Apparently, they've done away with that story, by the way. Bayley, the whole split personality thing, that really hasn't been a thing now for a while. I guess they did away with it, probably for the better. So Bayley, she embraced her. They hugged. Everything was cool. As they came back from commercial, though, because AJ was leaving and she's smacking hands with, you know, all the fans and everything, Becky Lynch attacked. I was waiting for this. I figured we were getting it on this show. I thought that she was going to interfere in the match. But Becky Lynch shows up and she jumps AJ Lee. She's throwing her into the barricades and she's, you know, putting the boots to her. So there was like a little girl, I think, in the crowd who was like saying some stuff, and Becky was just yelling back at her. And anyway, so AJ was all laid out. This ended with Becky grabbing the Intercontinental belt and blasting her in the head with it. So we're going to get a rematch between them at WrestleMania. I don't know what the stipulation is going to be. I would imagine that it will have some sort of stipulation. We'll see if, you know, Jessica Carr is the referee and how she may factor into things. This was expected. I mean, I think we all knew this was going to go at least one more. And so, you know, no real surprise here. We'll just wait to find out what kind of match they're going to have. But I said this when AJ won the belt in Chicago. I said, look, if you're going to put this championship on AJ Lee and she's not going to be there every single week, better to do it now. You know, let her get like a token run with it. And then at WrestleMania, if you do run the match back, you can put the belt right back on Becky, you know, and Becky could drop it to someone else in a few months. We don't have to have like an extended AJ Lee run as champion. I think 7 or 8 weeks is a nice little run for her. But again, if she's not going to be around all the time, then there's no need for her to have that championship coming out of Las Vegas. Just switch it back. But speaking of Intercontinental titles, they went back to back with IC title matches here because we have Penta out next to defend his championship. Penta walked out to the ring looking like a total star. This guy's a star. And again, the fans in San Antonio, they loved him. They even increased his pyro budget. He had what looked like... it looked like new pyro that was coming out of the turnbuckles. I think that was new. So good for him. He told us previously that he wants to be a fighting champion, right? He reminded us of this. And he told Adam Pearce, pick anybody because I will always be ready. So the lights go out, and Dragon Lee enters, and he's wearing his wings. He's got his dragon wings. I don't know why I just did this. Like the chicken dance. I don't know. He wasn't doing this. Now, you see, that would have gotten a laugh out of me if Dragon Lee's coming down to the ring doing this. No, he was wearing his wings. Should have flown to the ring. So he was ready to accept the challenge, and they had a great match. This was great. Dragon Lee hit a Styles Clash at one point for a near fall. Penta hit the Penta driver, also for a close near fall. Penta ended up outside over by the announce desk, and Dragon Lee put the word suicide in Suicide Dive. I mean, he fucking flew with reckless abandon out of the ring, and he knocked Penta over the desk and onto the floor. This was crazy. Yes, he looked like Lyra. He did. He looked like Lyra Valkyria. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, if they ever bring back the mixed match challenge, there's your team right there. Lyra and Dragon Lee with their wings. They could get Ric Flair to manage them, and then they could have their woo-wings. There you go. So back inside, Dragon Lee hit Operation Dragon, which is his Destino finish, but it only gets 2. So he takes his elbow pad off. He misses something of a hidden blade, and Penta ends up, he hit this wild Mexican destroyer, and it was so quick. It was so sudden. Dragon Lee basically popped back up, and then I think he kind of bounced off the ropes, and then he fell down to the mat, and Penta got the win. Great match, great crowd. You see, when you give people something worth cheering for, they will reward you. We haven't been getting a lot of that on Raw now for weeks. We get a lot of dead crowds. We get a lot of crowds that are very just apathetic, towards what they're seeing. But they were into this, as they should be, because this was a lot of fun. This was great. Now, backstage, Austin Theory and Logan Paul are with a very disheveled Paul Heyman. Theory says that Seth Rollins is a dead man and Logan Paul will handle it. And Heyman says, no. Don't do that. Said, Rollins faced no punishment for his attack on him because they have no power. Right? They have no leverage anymore. But this was the funniest fucking part of the entire show. He goes, we have no power, we have no leverage, but if we can win the tag team titles, somehow if we can take the tag titles from the Usos, we could get that power and leverage back. I had the biggest grin on my face as I was watching this and as I was listening to him speak. I honestly don't know how Heyman was able to get through that line and get through that promo without just dying laughing. Like, I know that he said some whoppers in his day, and he even going back to his promoter days in ECW, right? He would bend the truth sometimes, right? He was known to tell a little white lie every now and then. So I know he's used to doing that, but I don't know how he got through this promo. Theory says that he'll go after them now, and he storms off. So Logan hangs back, and he tells Paul, if it's the tag team titles that you want them to have, consider the Usos former champions. And you know what? We'll get LA Knight too. And he leaves. You could wire those tag team titles to be plugged into a wall outlet, and they still would have no fucking power to them. You ain't getting no power by holding the World Tag Team titles on Raw, okay? I don't care how much you try to convince yourself or how much you try to convince me and the viewing public. Those titles will give you no power whatsoever, and you will never convince me otherwise. So they made a match for next week. It's going to be the Usos against Logan Paul and Austin Theory. There was no mention, and it didn't say it in the graphic, that it was a tag team title match. So at least as of this moment, it doesn't look like it's a championship match, which means it could still end up being a title match at WrestleMania, but they're doing the first match next week. So then after this, we got it again. I know you were all waiting with bated breath for the rematch. The big rematch between Maxxine Dupri and Nattie. And boy, that crowd I just got done telling you about, how hot they were for Penta and Dragon Lee. You've never seen a crowd go from a 9 to a 2 so fast in your life. Well, maybe kind of last night when the Statlander and Tekla match went out to the ring, but they at least won them over by the end. Not so much here. And I mean, can you blame them? Can you blame them? At least this time it went longer than 90 seconds. You remember their last match? It went about 90 seconds, and Maxine took this terrible bump into the ring post, and she laid there dead, like she was shot, and she was just laying there on the floor, and the referee threw the match out. So that was the last time we saw them in the ring. Here they had more of a proper match. So Nattie looks into the camera at one point. She's claiming that the Dungeon beat Becky, not Maxine. Maxine fights back. She got Nattie in an ankle lock. Nattie was able to get out of it. Maxine missed a kick, and Nattie got her up in an electric chair position. Maxine rolls through. She got an ankle lock. Nattie kicked her out to the apron. So Maxine misses off the top rope. Nattie clubs her after this with a hard lariat. And Nattie locks on the sharpshooter, and Maxine has no choice but to tap out. And I was thinking to myself, when was the last time that we saw Nattie get a pinfall or a submission win on this show? And I was looking around, and I cannot find any evidence of it within the last 3 years. So you would have to go back, to the best of my knowledge, far beyond 2023. And I don't know how far back you'd have to go. Maybe into the 20 teens again. I don't know. It's been a long ass time since Nattie got a win. And I don't mean like, again, a couple weeks ago, the knockout shit, the referee threw the match away. I mean like a pin or a submission victory on this show. It's like a unicorn, right? Or how often does Haley's Comet become visible? It's like a long time. This was like Haley's Comet, where you don't get to see it very often. So you kind of stare at it and you admire it because it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. And you just don't know when you're going to see it again. You may die. You may perish and no longer be alive on this earth by the time it happens again. So you want to just appreciate it for what it is. I hope I didn't oversell that the way JBL oversold that women's match on Saturday, but it's a rare occurrence. This is a dead feud. I honestly don't see, even if Maxine wins out in the end, I don't see how this is going to do much for her at this point. I had hope. I thought that, there might have been a chance for it to work. It is patently obvious that the fans do not give a shit about any of this. And why should they? Why should they? What have they done to really make you buy in on Maxxine Dupri and Maxine getting, the big win over Nattie and why we should care about that and this feud? Like, they've given us no reason to. Nothing. They've done nothing. They just throw it out there and they expect you to know the story and to be invested and to give a shit. That's not how this works. You've got to put in the effort. You've got to put in the work. The performers are going to go out there and do their job. They can only do so much. They could try to build it up on social media. I mean, there are always things they can try to do on their own to kind of take matters into their own hands. It's an undercard feud. There's no championships at stake. Again, the fans are only going to be so invested anyway in this. But WWE, they're so fucking lazy when it comes to this. It drives me nuts. Because when they were doing the stuff at the beginning with Becky and Maxine, it wasn't bad, right? I mean, the longer it went, dragged on for, it got worse. But here it's like, okay, very low effort on WWE's part. It's like, yeah, well, no one's going to care. I talked about Nattie, when they had her, or they allowed her to tweak her gimmick and start doing, the gimmick that she's doing now. She didn't win any matches. This was her first, legit, real fucking win. Maybe if they would have attempted to build her up just a little bit, I'm not saying it would have worked. Nattie's been around forever, but they didn't even try. So who cares? We got a replay of the Cody and Randy angle from SmackDown. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now. Now, they had promoted throughout the night, up until this point, that Michael Cole was going to have an exclusive interview with Randy Orton after the actions of Orton on SmackDown Friday night. So he introduces Orton, who was not there in person. He was going to be there via satellite, I guess. But they cut to Randy Orton, who was on the phone in what looked like his garage. And it looked like, this was filmed on a Nokia phone from 2010. If you wanted to see Randy Orton, what he would look like in 480p, you got your wish here. This could not have been any grainier than it was. Even my phones from like fucking 12 years ago took better video than this. So Orton is on the phone with this mystery man. And he tells the mystery man that he was happy to see them a couple of weeks ago, and he agreed with them that it was about time for him to do what he did. And so he ends the call, and Orton tells Michael Cole, he goes, I know I told you I would do an interview with you. I know that's what I told you, but I changed my mind. No interview. But I will leave you with this. He had a conversation with someone that had a brain, and they said something profound to him. They said something that made him think about his life and made him understand a little bit better who he is, what he is, why it is that he did what he did to Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. You see, he's a killer. He says, hey, Cole, wrestling has more than one royal family. So the question now is... he's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP. Like, what the fuck? He's sticking his tongue. WAZZZAP. Like, what the fuck? Thank you, brother. Noel with the $13 super chat. Hey, look at that. We're one away from that bonus goal. And there's Vato Sting. Don't fuck with that guy. He'll cut you. But the question now is, who was Randy Orton on the phone with? And I wanted to say Kevin Owens. That was honestly my first thought. Because remember, Kevin Owens was friends with Randy, and the two of them were both friends with Cody. Owens turned on Cody first. Now Randy has turned on Cody, which is very interesting because a lot of the people that were celebrating with Cody in Philadelphia that night at WrestleMania and hoisting him up on their shoulders are now all turning on him. So I'm like, maybe it's Kevin Owens. And I don't think Kevin Owens is ready to, come back to the ring yet or anything, but you could certainly work him into the angle if you wanted to. But then that last line doesn't really make any sense. Wrestling has only one or doesn't just have one, royal family. So I'm not sure that it's Kevin Owens. Maybe it is Cowboy Bob. Maybe it's Cowboy Bob. Hey, dust off the cast. That arm is still not healed yet. It's been 40 years. Think about Evolution, right? Ric Flair was in Evolution. Triple H was in Evolution. And Triple H doesn't really make any sense in this case. Ric Flair, I have no interest in seeing Ric Flair on television, out of the crypt. I have no interest in that. So I don't really know what I'm hoping for. But I mean, Cowboy Bob was, I guess, as good of a guess as I could come up with. The Orton name. But KO was my first thought. Might not make any sense based on what he said, but I would love for Kevin Owens to make an appearance here. I think that would be great. Yes, Cowboy Bob and Dusty Rhodes have history. That is true. That is actually quite true. So maybe it is Cowboy Bob. He couldn't just come out and say, see you soon, Dad. That would have given it away. We'll see. He didn't indicate that person would be on TV this Friday, though. But doesn't hurt to keep people guessing. Backstage, Dragon Lee was holding his neck when the bouncy boy, Javon Evans, showed up. And he was all excited, as he always is. Kofi Kingston showed up, and he told Evans, hey, remember, it's all about who you associate yourself with. And Kofi said some people can help you up, and some people will keep dragon you down. Look at Kofi. So Evans didn't think that Kofi's comments were very appropriate. And he rejected, all the overtures about him joining the New Day and everything. He basically said no, he's not interested. So he left. Grayson Waller showed up, and he told Kofi he had no idea what he saw in Javon. And Kofi told Waller, well, that's what some people told me and Woods about you. So then Danhausen shows up. And yes, Danhausen shows up, and he asks if they were looking for a new member to replace Xavier Woods. And Danhausen, he started swiveling his hips, gyrating in a very sexy fashion, and saying very nice, very evil. That's how he met his wife. So he said they could have Cursed Crunch rather than Bootios. And Kofi said that was 10 years ago. My God, 10 years have gone by. My God. So Kingston said they did not want Danhausen in the New Day, and they asked him to leave. And Danhausen said, you don't want me in the New Day. And he said that you are. And as he went to go say cursed, Kofi knew it was coming. He pulled Waller in the way. And so he technically cursed Grayson Waller, which seems impossible to do because Grayson Waller, his career has been cursed as it is for the last 3 years. So maybe it's like a reverse curse now. Maybe it'll have the opposite effect where actually he'll start getting a push and doing something of substance on television. I don't really see how you can curse this man's career any more than it's already been cursed. How much lower can the man go short of being fired? Stephanie McMahon, one-on-one with Raquel Rodriguez. This was non-title. I have to tell you, it legitimately took me a good 15 seconds before I realized that it was Stephanie Vaquer coming out to the ring. That is how awful this music change has been. This fucking shitty music that they have her coming out to the ring to. I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. Like, we have the red lighting and everything. I thought Penta was coming out. And I'm like, who is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Stephanie. I used to be able to identify her music right away. And now I have to wait. I'm like, wait, who is this? And so, yes, it was Stephanie Vaquer. One-on-one here with Raquel Rodriguez. Liv Morgan was out there in Raquel's corner. Did I say McMahon? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Stephanie Vaquer. See, now I know why Vince wanted William Regal to change his name. Too many Steves. We had Steve Austin. We had Steve Williams. We had Steve Blackman. See, Vince was right. Too many Steves. Too many Stephanies. Yeah, I mean, her music, it's generic. It's just generic shit. But compared to what she had before, again, it's like they actively make things worse when it comes to the music for some of these people. They did it with everybody. They did it with Sheamus. I mean, we can go down the list of people that they did it to. If you're going to change something, I'm not a huge fan of change, but if you're going to change it, you change it for the better. And if you're not going to change it for the better, then you don't change it at all. Unfortunately, that's not how they do things. After a break in the action, Vaquer came off the top with a crossbody. Raquel missed with a boot. Stephanie hit a dragon screw. Raquel came back with the Vader corkscrew elbow, but it missed. And now it's Devil's Kiss time. Liv Morgan, though, distracts Stephanie, so Raquel can boot her to the ground. Now we hear Io Sky's music. And Io comes running out to the ring after Liv Morgan. Raquel, though, pounces Io over the announce desk. She took a hard bump on the floor. It looked like she may have hit the back of her head on like the leg of the announcer's chair. And then Stephanie comes diving onto Raquel, and she sends Liv flying over the barricade into the timekeeper's area. Stephanie then heads up top. She gets caught, though, and she gets slammed down by Raquel. Stephanie, though, is able to avoid the Tejana bomb, and she rolls up Raquel for the flash pin. That hardly made Stephanie Vaquer look strong. I did not like that finish. She is the champion heading into WrestleMania, and I get wanting to protect Raquel, but the title match should be the priority at WrestleMania. And your priority right now heading into WrestleMania, not the challenger. And she's not even the challenger. This wasn't even a title match. She's just an opponent for her on TV. And it just felt to me like Stephanie got by the skin of her teeth. Doesn't exactly position her in a very strong way going into this match with Liv Morgan. We go backstage. And Bayley, and to go back to this for a second. So I'm about to actually get into I was going to talk about this here. We'll get back to EO in a second. Let me talk about what came next, because Bayley was backstage with Lyra Valkyria. And Lyra is trying to compliment her. You know, she lost earlier against AJ, but it was a good effort. And Bayley, of course, doesn't want to hear it. And she's all down on her luck. And Lyra says, we're going to get into WrestleMania together. Asuka and Kairi Sane appear. And Asuka is not happy with them because they messed up her opportunity to potentially challenge for the Intercontinental Championship, right? She would have won the gauntlet, and if it was her against AJ Lee tonight, she would be the new champion right now. So they're not ready for Asuka, she says. So Kairi tells Bayley, stay away from us. Because Asuka had already left, right? Kairi's there, and Kairi tells them, stay away from us. And then you hear Asuka... And Kairi, of course, sheepishly, as she's been doing for months, sleeks away to go find Asuka. So Lyra looks at Bayley and she goes, because Bayley, she wants to know, what does she say in Japanese? And Bayley said that, Asuka and Kairi, they're going after the tag team titles, which is exactly what I fucking feared. And Lyra gets a smirk on her face and she looks at Bayley and she goes, really? She said, well, why don't we go talk to Adam Pearce? And Bayley said, let's do that. Let's go talk to Adam Pearce. So they're going to go off and also find out if they can get a shot at the tag team titles. So, no Io and no Asuka at WrestleMania. We're going to get Asuka and Kairi as one of 5 or 6 teams, probably. At least 4. In a women's tag team championship match. It'll be Nia Jackson, Lash Legend. Let's see. It'll be Charlotte and Alexa. It'll be the Bella Twins. That's 3. Bayley and Lyra is 4. Asuka and Kairi is 5. Who am I missing? I feel like there's going to be another women's team in there. So at least 5 teams, I'm sure, are going to be lumped into the women's tag team title match. Where does that leave Io Sky? I guess it leaves her with Raquel Rodriguez. That's a Raw match. But evidently they're going to be doing that at WrestleMania because I don't see where Io fits into this equation otherwise. Io has no business being in the tag team title match because she lost her tag team partner. And she's already been tag team champion. What the fuck does she need to be wrestling for that again? So she's not going to be a part of that. There's no other match that even makes sense except her and Raquel. That's very disappointing. You talk about just downgrading somebody from what they were doing last year. She wasn't even on the Elimination Chamber card. And now she's going to be in some just fucking rando match that nobody asked for at WrestleMania. That's pretty fucking terrible. At least she'll be on the card. I'm assuming she's even going to be on the card. Maybe that's my mistake. I shouldn't assume. I should point out to you that Logan Paul and Austin Theory could be seen in the background during this chatting with Maxxine Dupri, who was sitting on the floor licking her wounds after her loss earlier to Nattie. I would be licking my wounds too if I lost to somebody who hadn't gotten a win on this television show in about 7 years. I probably would burn my boots and retire if I were her. Anyway, I'm sure this is going to end up meaning nothing. They do this sometimes. Actually, they do this a lot. Triple H does, where in these backstage segments, they're like little Easter eggs. If you watch, there's somebody like in the background, just like kind of hovering, or there's 2 people having a conversation off in the distance. And very rarely does it actually lead to anything. So I'm sure this is going nowhere. I mean, what, we're going to have Maxine join the Vision? Oh, yeah, that'll be great. Just what we need. So I just thought it was worth pointing out. Yes, the hug, the EO hug on Triple H from Unreal. I guess it did her. It did not do anything for her. It did not benefit her. LA Knight. Let's talk about LA Knight, shall we? Yeah. LA Knight walks up to the Usos backstage, and he mentions how the Vision has all of our names in their mouths. But he noticed that Jimmy and Jay were getting awfully cozy with Roman again. And they're like, it's a family business, and he should mind his. So Knight says, well, I could respect family business, but if the old bloodline comes back, they can't be on the same page. So he and Jimmy, they fist bump, and he puts his fist there. He wants to fist Jey Uso, and Jey Uso basically just stares at him, and he doesn't want to be fisted. So LA Knight did not fist Jey Uso. Yeah. And so we move on. We move on to the closing segment here. They closed and I don't blame Jey Uso, by the way. They closed the show with Roman Reigns coming out to the ring all by himself. And of course, he wants to be acknowledged here in San Antonio. Said, forgive him. Phil gets a little confused. He must have forgotten that they're in the main event and it's Monday and this is his show. And some fans began to boo. He told Phil, don't listen to them. Why don't you come on out? The water is warm. So now we get loud chants of CM Punk. So CM Punk comes out and the World Heavyweight Champion is all smiles and he's slapping hands with the fans on his way down to the ring and he's taking his sweet time. He's doing a lap around the ringside area. He's going on that side to slap hands and he's going on this side to slap hands. And he probably wasted, I would say, a good 3 or 4 minutes. He killed about 4 minutes doing this. Roman is leaning on the ropes in the corner looking at his watch. You know, it's a 2.5 hour show, buddy. So finally, they're face to face in the ring. Roman welcomes him to his ring. Welcome to his main event. And Punk said, you know, you keep using my government name like it's supposed to be some kind of insult. My friends and my family, they're allowed to call me Phil. I would try to insult you and call you Titty Tiaki or whatever it is. And I'm sure as hell not going to call you Joe because that would be really insulting to a Samoan that I care about very much of the same name. And the fans popped for that line. Roman told him, well, maybe you should call Joe so you can remind him about who the real tribal chief is. I love me a good Samoa Joe name drop here. I approve. That will always go down as CM Punk's last ever match in AEW against Samoa Joe. Joe should have won that match. In hindsight, Joe should have won that match. So he's surprised that Roman hasn't taken a swing at him yet. He's already won the main event of WrestleMania, though, because he knows that he's in Roman's head. And the fans began to sing Roman's name. Yes, I think Titty Tiaki might have been the best line of the entire promo here. I want to see Titty Tiaki signs now in the crowd every week. That does sound like a developmental name that he would have been given 15 years ago. Well, I know he went by Leaki. Leaki was his name in FCW, although when I first heard his name many years ago, I might have even called him this on an early sound off. I'm pretty sure I called him Leaky, but it's, which is kind of funny actually. But I didn't know. I mean, I saw it online. I'm like, you know, there's this new guy in FCW called Leaky. I mean, what the fuck was, you got fucking Dean Ambrose, you got Seth Rollins, you got fucking Leaky over here. So, I mean, it's a good thing he changed his name. I don't think he would have gotten over as big if he was called Leaky. I don't think that would have worked out as well for him. I think the name change, Roman Reigns was like the best thing. That name change was the best thing that ever happened to this guy. Oh man. Some of those early developmental names, like Eli Cottonwood and Percy Watson or Percy Jackson, whatever it was. Fucking Leaky. It's terrible. I got to go back and revisit some of those names. Oh, those are some fun segments on the show. So Roman said, I would expect you to think that you're in my head. Because as you can hear, I'm on everyone's mind. I'm in everyone's head. And Punk, he'll just say anything. Like, you got me in the main event. Phil over here hasn't main evented anything this year. Says Phil couldn't even main event a live event tour in Europe, let alone the main event of WrestleMania. Chili McFreeze. Well, that was one of the recommended names that Steve Austin got, yes. Flex Kavana was Rock's first name, yes. Flex Kavana. Husky Harris. Abraham Washington. Well, what was Kenny Dykstra. Kenny Dykstra. That's a play on like two different Mets players. Skip Sheffield. We could do a whole segment on these fucking names. It's awful. Well, Pineapple Pete was from the early days of the COVID shows in AEW at Daly's Place. I don't know whatever happened to Pineapple Pete. I hope he's doing well. I don't like pineapple, but I hope he's doing well. And it certainly has no place on pizza. But I hope Pineapple Pete is doing okay. Anyway, he says, come on, Punk. Go ahead, say something special. So he called Roman too chicken shit to show up last week, so he sent his cousins. He sent his young boys instead. He didn't want Jimmy and Jay to get caught in the crosshairs, but they came out and they handled their family business. And you know what? He deserved what he got last week. He says, I deserve to get punched in the face. Right message, wrong messenger. Who's the real tribal chief? And so Roman asked the fans, he goes, this is what you cheer for? He says, I heard this garbage for 5 years, right? Which one's the real tribal chief? Like, enough with that garbage. He said Punk is trite and redundant, and he repeats the same shit over and over. He's never here. He's a part-timer. He said Punk should figure out what the top players do and suggested that he go talk to his wife. Which, again, he wasn't really insulting his wife, but you mention a guy's wife, still, that's like a line in the sand. Until Punk can come up with something that phases him, don't waste my time, Phil. So Roman went to go leave. Punk stepped in his way. So then, he's trying to leave the ring. Punk jumps out of the ring and stands there. So he doesn't allow him to exit the ring. And Punk says it's his ring, and he tells him when he can go, and young boy, now's not the time. They both get back in the ring. And Punk says, I'm under your skin. It's the last time that Roman is going to main event, and with all of my punkamaniacs, he says, chanting CM Punk, he's going to hoist him up, and he's going to send him crashing down into his knee, and he's going to split his ego in two and beat him on the grandest stage of them all. All of his punkamaniacs. Roman said he didn't want to go here because there's so much rich history to tap into, but enough is enough. He says Punk is delusional. He can't phase him. He's the most successful star he's ever run into. He is his tribal chief. When the talking is done, we know you can't do the walking. This is the truth, Phil. You're not faster than me. You're not stronger than me. You're not better looking than me. Where'd that come from? You're nothing to me. The title around your waist is an embarrassment. He called Punk a tryhard. He said, at the end of the day, you're old. That was it. That was the trigger for CM Punk. Punk punched him in the face. Roman is laying on the mat kind of up against the bottom rope, but he's looking up at Punk and he's smiling. And he's laughing at him as Adam Pearce and Daivari and some other officials come out to get in between them. And that's the line that got under Punk's skin. Roman got back up. He smiled at him as Punk was let out of the ring. Roman then looked into the camera and he said, you say one thing. And he snaps. Who's in whose head now? That's the king of the mental game? You got nothing. And that's how they went off the air. Well, I'll tell you what, though, the old guy just put you down on your ass. So doesn't really make Roman Reigns look very strong that he got put down by the old guy. By the way, Punk is only, how old is Punk compared to Roman? He's not that much older than Roman. I want to say Punk is maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 years older. It's not like he's fucking 15 years older than him. But that's what it took. That's what it took. I still think it was I thought it was a decent exchange here between them. It felt like it was lacking something. It definitely was not up to par with the first two. And considering, here's my biggest issue with it, okay? Considering how offended and pissed off Roman Reigns seemed at the end of that last segment 2 weeks ago. And I said at the time, I said, man, when the next time we see Roman, he better be ready to throw hands with this guy. Like, he better be able to, like, bloody him up. If he has to have his cousins help him out, like, do something to send a message to this man that you do not fuck with my family. You do not talk about my family. You do not insult my family. You don't even invoke their name, right? And he looked like he was about to explode. Like, oh boy, this guy's going to get revenge the next time we see him on TV. And so his revenge here was to do what exactly? Like, he was all over this show yucking it up and laughing with the Usos. And I get maybe the idea is that he was no-selling it, right? He didn't want to show weakness. Maybe he didn't want to show Punk that it got to him. So he was kind of like trying to wave it off. Maybe that's the idea. But it's not the Roman Reigns I was expecting to see on this show, where he was just laughing the whole thing off. And then they go out there to do the promo. And again, it's just like he's doing Roman. Like there's no anger. There's no rage in his eyes or anything like that. The story is that they're playing mental games. They're playing mind games with each other. And I just don't think that the reaction was appropriate coming out of what we saw the last time the two of them were in the ring together. And then the big payoff here was him calling Punk old. And apparently that's all it took to get in Punk's head and to set him off, and Punk punches him in the face and Roman's smiling like he won. Right? I'm in your head now. I don't know. I thought it was kind of lame. It didn't really work for me. At least we didn't get any dead dog insults. I thought for sure we were going to get a Larry the dog mention in here. And we did not get that. So now we wait to see, I guess, what Punk is going to come back at him with that really sets Roman off, to where Roman snaps and Roman punches him. It's almost like you can picture it in your head, like what the next segment's going to be. He'll punch Roman, or Roman will punch him rather. And it's like, all right, well, how many times are we going to go back and forth with this, before we sort of amp this up to that next level? Roman's on the show the next 2 weeks. So we're going to get something with them next week. Brock is also on the show the next 2 weeks. I think Brock might be on the show every week from now to WrestleMania. But I know Roman is missing one. I think he's missing that first Monday in April. But otherwise, he'll be here for all the remaining shows. So I'm still into, the back and forth between them. And I'm still, I'm interested in where this goes. But I do wonder these next couple of weeks if things get flipped. And depending on what they do on SmackDown with Cody and Randy, if the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton stuff becomes more interesting than what they're doing with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. And that'll be very interesting to see. Again, almost like a little competition between the four to see, who can grab the audience more for their main event going into WrestleMania. Because it does look like right now it's confirmed. Well, I would say confirmed, but I think on the ticket website for WrestleMania tickets, I believe it's listing Punk and Roman for night 2, Cody and Randy for night 1, which I think we all figured. It will be interesting to see if that flips in the eyes of the fans. Because that was a hot angle they shot at the end of SmackDown on Friday. We didn't get that yet with Punk and Roman. We didn't get like the savage beatdown, bloody attack. That's the sort of thing I would have expected Roman to do to Punk tonight, had they not already done that on Friday with Cody and Randy. Like, you want to mention my father. You want to mention burying me next to my father. That's the sort of thing that Roman should have come out tonight to do. Now, they couldn't do that back to back like that on the two shows. I get that. But that's what I would have expected. But they ended up doing it the opposite way. I thought it was a good show on the whole. Again, it started out hot and it really fell off after that compared to the opener. But I thought there was more good than bad. Great match with Penta and Dragon Lee. Good closing segment, just not up to the quality of the first two between the two of them. Let's take a look at the Raw poll. What did you think of Raw for 316 Day? 78.3% thumbs up for tonight's show. 21.7% thumbs down. 3-on-1 beatdown with the Usos. Yeah. Yes. That's what it should have been. Family all gangs up together, right? Stands tall. Puts a beat down on the guy. Keep my father's name out your mouth. Pulls a Will Smith on him, right? That's what he should have done. Let's get into your super chats here. We did hit the bonus goal. That means we get 2 rounds. That's what that sound means. You got 2 rounds coming your way. We had over 1,800 people in here a moment ago. You guys are killing it tonight from Boots all the way down on the super chats. Let's get into your messages. I love it. Hey, Joseph, happy Monday to you. He's very happy that Dominic retained the AAA World title. It's the AAA Mega title, but yes, he did retain the title on Saturday. Undertaker books Dom better than Triple H does. I don't think that Joseph is wrong. Joseph, I think you're right. And happy 316 Day to you as well. He's also very happy that Jack Perry won at Revolution. Well, 1 out of 2 super chats isn't bad. I agreed with you on the Dominic one. He's very happy that Cope and Christian are back, and that Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega are back, and says congrats to all the Oscars winners. Hey, Michael B. Jordan, right? Won for Best Actor for Sinners. I told you Sinners wasn't winning Best Picture, but I wasn't expecting him to win for Best Actor. It says Viggo Mortensen is rumored to be in The Batman Part 2, which is very interesting. Do you like the term soap opera in wrestling? No, not really. In honor of 316 Day, what are your 3 favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin moments? Number 1 for me is the Zamboni incident. Easily my number 1. Him assisting Mankind in winning the WWF Championship for the first time. Just a tremendous, thunderous ovation when he came out. The building was shaking. It was unbelievable. That was on a taped show, no less. Taped in 1998, aired in 1999. So that's 2. And I mean, there's so many to choose from, my God, but I don't know, man. I could go with the beer truck, maybe. Maybe the beer truck. That was fun. I'll go with the beer truck. Is Randy Orton one of the greatest of all time? To some people, I'm sure he would be. Is he? When you say greatest of all time, I mean, what are we talking about here? I think he'll go down as one of the greats, but I don't have him in my top 10 or 20 or anything like that. I don't know where he would fall, but if we consider greatest of all time, like top 5, top 10, no. The answer is no. Not for me. Anyway, Joseph, thank you for the super chat, love. The Sheltered Kid, if you could be in attendance for any Raw and SmackDown show for however long it's been running, which shows would it be? I think for SmackDown, I think it would have been cool to be there, especially in those first few rows, for the first time that they did the ring collapse with Brock and Big Show. So that would have been cool. And for Raw, for the Zamboni incident, crowd was going nuts for that. Either the Zamboni incident or I would say the that 10-man tag I talk about sometimes from Raw in Dallas in 2000. That would have been fun. He says, I bought Meta glasses just to listen to you at work. How much are those Meta glasses, though? They're expensive, aren't they? Well, thank you. You can listen to me in a lot of different ways. You don't need Meta glasses for them, but that is another way, I guess, that you can listen to podcasts with them. We got Big Money Jackson. Americano matches have run its course. Yes, they have. Hey, Pontiff. Okay, you were in the building that night, huh, for the Zamboni? Yeah, that was the night after that breakdown in your house pay-per-view. Man, that place went nuts. Was that Pittsburgh? I want to say that was Pittsburgh.
I am the learning tree. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Ian Noel, thank you for the $12 learning tree. This is the only way that you can see Chris Jericho these days. Is here on these streams. Big Money says they have commercials of wrestlers singing now. I saw the TurboTax commercial, right? Is it TurboTax? It's got Penta, Stephanie Vaquer, and LA Knight. Hey, Prince Vegeta, thank you for the $4.99. The Real CS says, I hope once this whole Americano stuff is over, they keep the character in AAA. It doesn't work here. It definitely works better down there than it does here. GMB, before Oba, don't think Brock took a powerbomb since 2003. Yeah, I don't think... I was trying to think, like... Was it The Undertaker giving him the last ride? Would that have been the last time he took a move like that? Even when he wrestled Omos, I don't remember him taking... like a big slam like that. Right? Keith Lee never did that to him. They only had that one interaction in the Royal Rumble that time. We got Stone Cold E.T. What? Stone Cold E.T. with a 1999.
I am the learning tree. Thanks, guys.
Boy, he's planting trees all over the place tonight. He's planting his seed. Watch it grow. Stone Cold ET says, happy 316 day solo. Hell yeah. That's right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin has come.
I wanted to talk about the Orton Rhodes feud. What if we get a 2009 angle of Randy attacking Rhodes and handcuffing him to the ring post? Brandy comes out to help Cody, but Randy hits her with an RKO. And then he dropped a $50 super chat to continue here. The twist of the angle is instead of the kiss scene, we get Liberty Rhodes in the ring. Randy picks her up to comfort her. As they look over, Brandy and Cody are yelling Chief Gordon style in The Dark Knight, damn it, leave my family alone. This has gotten very dark now. I'm not a fan of bringing the kids into the angle. How old is Liberty? Is very young. Yeah, I mean, Brandy, I'm not really a fan of that either, to be honest with you, but I would definitely not bring Liberty into the angle. I don't think that's necessary. But you could get heat by bringing Brandy into the angle if you wanted to. But then I kind of feel like it would just be looked at as a copy of what they already did, 15 years ago. I would rather they come up with something a little more original, so that way you don't have people accusing them of just copy and pasting past angles. But an interesting idea to discuss. Brother, I appreciate this support. Thank you very much. Johnny Burney. Yeah, Liberty is only 4 years old. Even Dom, when they did the angle with Eddie and Ray, Dom had to be at least 8 or 9. Johnny says, Ricochet's MS post angered me. I hope he finds no peace. Yeah, I was I was blown away when I saw that. That was a stupid fucking thing for him to tweet. Very, very stupid. Robbie H5. Roman looks weak and corny. Letting that stuff slide, still chuckling and wearing out the whole thing. I think you meant Phil. Yeah, again, it wasn't the promo I felt like he needed to really come back at him with tonight. You know, it did feel very weak. That's why I said it was missing something. What did Ricochet say? There was a tweet that AEW put out. It was from Backstage or Revolution. Because Ricochet lost his national title. So he was throwing furniture. He was having just a complete freak out. All pissed off. And there was a woman. And I looked at her profile. She's like an older lady. And she just posted underneath like, yeah, he still can't act. It was something like that. She didn't like use foul language or anything like that. But it was like, oh, he still can't act. Or like his acting skills haven't improved. With like some smiling emojis. And he just replied and goes, I'm glad you got MS. And like I went on her profile and again, it's an older woman and it says like she's an older woman battling multiple sclerosis. And like if you look at her profile, like it is. And that was his response. I'm glad you got MS. You know, some of these wrestlers, you talk about their brains. Some of them have shit for brains. This is Exhibit A. Or Whizzle. I'm afraid Brock against Oba will be a snooze fest. Way to be optimistic. I'm not worried about it being a snooze fest. I'm concerned about what the match itself might look like in terms of Suplex City and not much else. I'm concerned about what the finish might be. I'm not concerned about it being a snooze fest. Let's just be happy that we're actually getting the correct match. Aaron says, Roman and Punk have run out of promo material. It feels like maybe we're getting there. Maybe we're getting there where they are starting to sort of run out of gas a little bit. Philip says, have you heard the SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 version of Break the Walls Down? Possibly a hot take. I think it is better than the original. I have heard that one, and I disagree with you. I don't think it's better than the original. I don't think it's awful or anything like that, but it's definitely not better than the original. Or Whizzle, when will WWE change Raw's theme music? I love rap. I always have. Eminem is one of the GOATs. It's just not a good fit. We need heavy metal, please. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't hate that kind of music either. It is a weird fit for the show, though. It doesn't... I'm more a fan of like the themes over the years that they've had that really get you pumped up. The problem also is we have cold opens every week now. Like we don't even have proper opens to Raw anymore that get you really like pumped up, where you have like a 20 or 30 second video and they come to the arena and the pyro is blasting and the fireworks are going. We don't have that anymore, right? You hear that music in the background and we have everybody doing the fake walk into the building and it's the same shit every week. And I miss that real, genuine opening to the show that would really get your blood pumping. Like, okay, I'm excited for Monday Night Raw tonight. We don't have that anymore. We do not have that anymore. Or Whizzle with another one. He says, it really irks me. Oh, man. Look at that poor guy. He didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that beatdown. It really irks me when the stars come out and everybody is just with their phones out recording. I really hate this generation of WWE audience. I mean, that's not a WWE problem, dude. That's just technology. That's everywhere now. That's every event. That's every sporting event, wrestling event, concert. You know, I mean, the fucking tree lighting and I mean, pick whatever you want. Like, it's just the way of the world now. Everybody wants to capture the moment on their phone. I'm guilty of the same thing. Instead of just watching the moment with your eyes, everybody has to record. It's been that way for years, dude. That's not just a WWE issue. Ragnarok. Or Wizzle had one more. Hold on a second here. Was waiting for Roman to bring up the dog. Instead, he brings up the wife. LOL. I would like Punk to go over, but strong feeling it will be Roman. Thank you, War Wizzle. Ragnarok says would have given a thumbs up for Oba killing Brock alone. Roman's zinger was weak. Punk 1, Roman 0, in my opinion. Happy Monday, brother. And where is Gunther? He is in witness protection. Actually, WWE, they uploaded every week they upload a photo gallery with their Instagram photos of the week from various talent accounts. And I did notice, I was going through some of the photos, and I did notice there was one from Gunther. I presume it's from his Instagram. I don't know, but it's a picture of him out with his son at the pool. So he's hanging out with the family. He's living the life. Not doing much as far as WrestleMania goes, but apparently he's doing okay otherwise. Aaron with the $4.99. Wonder if Kabukis are in the tag match because Roxanne will not be back in time, and Raquel and Io both need a match, so they are being paired with each other. Well, then you could just have Raquel in Liv's corner. You know, they're telling this story where things are backfiring and there's tension between them. If she ends up not wrestling, she ends up not wrestling. I mean, don't force the issue with Io just because you need Raquel to have an opponent for WrestleMania. I don't know if that's what's going on here, but like that would be a terrible excuse. You know, Io is legitimately one of the best they have in the entire company. For her not to have a match at all obviously would be terrible, but for her to not be, you know, in a match that I just feel like story-wise, like there was something to do there with her and Asuka and Kairi and Asuka and Kairi and like, doesn't look like they're doing it. It's frustrating. Cornell Bryant. So I guess Larry was off limits. Yeah, I guess so. It's still very raw. Punk, if you saw, there was a video they posted. I mentioned this. There was a vlog following around Punk and AJ Lee in Chicago before the Elimination Chamber. And they went to go visit Pause Chicago, which is the rescue where they got Larry 10 or 11 years ago. And I mean, you could just see it in Punk's eyes. Like he's still devastated. You know, I wouldn't exploit that. St. Clair says, favorite mid-card title feud. Mine is D-Lo and X-Pac for the European title, and best to worst Triple H Mania singles match we never got. HBK, Angle, Rock, and Austin. I mean, I'll just pick the one that I wish we would have gotten. Triple H and Rock. And we would have gotten that one at WrestleMania 2000. Unfortunately, Austin was not fully healed enough yet to do the run-in, so they had to delay it until Backlash. And so we got a fatal four-way instead. We basically got Rock and Triple H on that show, but, you know, not the same thing. Not the same thing as it would have been if it was just one-on-one. Let me go back to St. Clair's message here. I will say this, you know, Triple H and Angle, I don't think they ever had good chemistry together. I don't think they ever had good, like, in-ring chemistry, so I don't think that's a Mania match I really would have wanted to see. Triple H and Rock, Triple H and HBK, one-on-one, but that's about it. No real interest in the others. As far as favorite mid-card title feud, oh man, mid-card title feud. I don't know. I mean, Shawn and Razor's back in '94 leading to the ladder match was pretty cool, right? Where they each had an Intercontinental title. Who's the real champion? Right, that's a classic one. Bret Hart and Roddy Piper heading into WrestleMania. That was fun. That was for the IC title. I don't know. Let's come up with some in the chat. I'm sure there's a bunch I'm not even thinking of. Oh, yes. Big Boss Man and Al Snow for the hardcore title. Rest in peace, Pepper. They just uploaded a video, by the way, last week, I think it was. They had like a whole week of Attitude Era stuff on the Vault channel. And they have like a, I don't know, 15-minute video, whatever it was, of nothing but Crash Holly hardcore title defenses. So, Funtime USA, him going down the super slide in the ball pit, the airport when he got attacked at baggage claim. He was attacked in his hotel room. He was attacked all over the place. But the funniest one, and I had forgotten about it, is when Gerald Briscoe beat him for the hardcore title. He was sleeping backstage. And Briscoe had a referee with him, and he tiptoed towards Crash. He's like, shh. And he covers him, and the referee's like, 1, 2. And he wins the title. And Briscoe's just like, I'm like, it's so stupid you can't help but just laugh. I miss that. I miss that creativity. It was so much fun. Aaron says, Gunther really got the torch passed from Cena because now we can't see him either. Yes, we cannot see Gunther. Literally, we cannot see him. He's not on TV. B-Man the Champ. As things stand, would you say you're more excited right now for Cody Orton or Roman Punk? And which would you say deserves the true main event? I mean, as of right now, it still feels like Punk and Roman is that quote-unquote true main event. I mean, they're both main events, but honestly, as of this moment, I'm probably more excited right now for Cody and Randy. That's where I stand. I would go Cody and Randy. Prince Vegeta, did that bump that Roman took count as one of his 4 contracted matches of 2026? I think it might have. He's down to 3. That's why he can't win the title. Prince Vegeta, did that... oh, we just read that one. Cornell... Hold on a second. There we go. Cornell Bryant says, breaking. Gunther will miss WrestleMania, has been sent back to NXT. Well, then I guess we'll be seeing him on the Stand and Deliver card, April 4th in St. Louis. Yes. Well, you know what? It was tonight's 480p Randy Orton segment that really did sell me on the show, on their main event. AWOL. CM Punk talking about someone's dead dad. All laughter. CM Punk getting called old. Then he has anger emojis. Josh Carlos 98. If Oba loses to Brock, then Triple H is dumb as dirt. Oh, I think Oba could very well lose to Brock with the idea that they will run it back in Minneapolis at SummerSlam. I think there's a very real possibility of that. I hope that doesn't happen. But if they want to get 2 matches out of it, sure. Sure, it could happen. Hey, Channel Down, thank you for the super chat and the membership as well. Thank you, brother. Barry MK, they really just had EO come out just to get attacked. What a pointless run-in. Dude, everything that EO has done since Rhea Ripley went to SmackDown has been fucking pointless. You know what? At this point, I actually wouldn't even be shocked if they had Jade Cargill like lay down some sort of savage beating on EO just to get to Rhea. If they sacrificed EO in the WrestleMania build just to put more heat on the match with her and Rhea Ripley. Would not even be surprised. Boots, I mean, what can we say? Whenever I see the red, $316 super chats. Holy shit. My God. Boots. You talk about boots to asses. Boots is the king tonight. Josh Carlos says top 5 Mania matches in both decades, 80s and 90s. Yeah, I don't like doing the whole top 5, top 10 thing on the spot. I can tell you that as far as the 80s portion of WrestleMania goes, you got to have Savage and Steamboat. Definitely got to have that on there. The funny thing is, I don't really have that many really what I would call favorite 80s WrestleMania matches. You know, there's some memorable ones, but like Savage Steamboat is really the only one that I would say stands out as like a favorite of mine. Hogan Savage was obviously, it was a good match at WrestleMania 5. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's like a favorite of mine. But as far as the 90s is a little bit easier for me. 90s, you know, we go Hogan Warrior, Warrior Savage, Bret Hart and Piper, Savage and Flair. I mean, Bret and Owen, Shawn and Razor. I can't keep it to 5. It's impossible. I can't keep it to 5. Obviously, Bret Hart and Austin in 97 would be number 1. Randy better have been talking to his internet provider. Randy, yes, that's actually a very good point. I think Randy should have been on the phone with, let's see, who's his provider? Who would have shitty internet service like that? Xfinity? Is Xfinity known for having shitty internet? He definitely needs to make a phone call to whoever his ISP is and get this sorted out. Well, it would probably be his mobile provider if he was on the phone, right? Somebody was, I don't know. It looked like someone was filming with a phone. Maybe it was Sprint. Comcast. Oh, definitely Comcast. Justin G, goodbye, Homo sapiens. Hello, Oba sapiens. All the Homo sapiens moved down to Mexico, so they can go to all the shows at the AAA shows. They were in Puebla, I believe, on Saturday to see Omos. They all moved out of the country. Josh Carlos, I agree with you on HBK against Hart being overrated at WrestleMania 12. I personally think Rock Austin 2, WrestleMania 17 is overrated because that finish was awful. What is your underrated WrestleMania match? HBK Y2J WrestleMania 19 is mine. An underrated WrestleMania match? Underrated WrestleMania match. That's a good question. I don't know if it's underrated. I think it's more of a guilty pleasure for me. I always liked the Undertaker Jake the Snake match at WrestleMania 8. I mean, I know it's nothing great, but I don't know if I can honestly call it underrated, though. I might go Diesel Undertaker. I saw that recently. It was actually pretty good. Never really gets talked about. I may go with that one. Broadcaster, Lesnar versus Gunther, or Disco Inferno. I mean, if Lesnar is going to take Disco to Suplex City, I'm all in. Ian Noel, $22 super chat. By the way, thank you to Broadcaster for the 10 spot. Ian says, late to the party, but what if Punk versus Roman leads to the... Oh boy, here we go. I knew somebody was going to mention this. Leads to The Rock getting involved, accidentally costing Roman the match against Punk, and that leads to Rock and Roman at SummerSlam. Then Punk against Balor at SummerSlam with Balor winning. Well, you're asking me if I think these things are going to happen. The answer is no on both. Neither one of those things are going to happen. Finn Balor is not going to have anything to do with the World Heavyweight Championship this year. Intercontinental? I thought maybe it was possible until Penta won the belt from Dom. So I'm not even really thinking that's very likely. Rock is not going to be involved. Rock is not going to be involved. Rock is not wrestling this year. He's not wrestling. If he's not wrestling at SummerSlam, I can tell you that. You gotta just get that out of your head. JDFVA, thank you. Dude here, 73 with the 12. They did it. They got me excited for a Lesnar match at WrestleMania. If Lesnar plays ball here, him and Oba should put on a hell of a spectacle. I put it this way. I don't expect it to go very long, but there is a formula that could work, and hopefully it is the right formula and the right person goes over. Alexander says, I still think Brock will pull a Hogan and say, that don't work for me, brother.
Oh, you got me, brother.
Oba's going to drop him. He's going to be like, oh, you got me, brother. And he will not put Oba over. Only time will tell. Look, it's very possible that they do not want Oba to win yet. I think he should. I'm just happy right now they're doing the match. Taking this one step at a time. Philip says, buy or sell, Pat McAfee or Jerry Lawler? Jerry Lawler. In terms of announcing, Jerry Lawler. Also, he says, do you think Punk and Ospreay would have been good? Yes, I think it would have been very good. Chris Auditor, let's say that Brock retires at SummerSlam this year and he ends it by putting over Oba in a long program. How should their WrestleMania match play out? Well, again, like I was just saying, if that is the idea here, that they want to get 2 matches out of it and in the end, Oba goes over, I still think this should by no means be a short squash type match where they try to shock you by having Oba just get destroyed with suplexes and, you know, like, oh, you know, the rookie underestimated the veteran, like nothing like that. If he's going to get beat, it's got to be a competitive match where Brock is just, you know, clearly maybe he underestimates Oba, doesn't take the challenge. Not that he doesn't take it seriously, but just didn't expect him to bring it in the way that he brings it. And he more survives than dominates. He survives Oba. That would be if Oba was going to lose, then it would have to be that way. You know, you beat me. It's like what Samoa Joe said. Samoa Joe said the same thing to Brock Lesnar in that promo after Great Balls of Fire when they had that great match together, where he said, you didn't beat me, you survived me. Right? And your wise man knows. That was such a great promo. But it's kind of the same idea. Dry Chicken says Finn Balor should send or should help Stephanie Vaquer retain her title against Liv Morgan and then do a foot stomp on Liv just to stick it to the Judgment Day. Oh man, that would get a big pop if he did that. I could see Balor getting involved there and actually screwing over Liv after what Liv said in her promo tonight. Where the demon comes out and scares her. Jeremy Thunderstrikes Punk says, I'm going to bury you next to your father. Roman, LOL, you're old. That was weak. 2 weeks for that? He should have pulled a tribal Glock on Punk. Is what I said? I was waiting for it, and it's just like water off his back. Like, hey, don't faze me. You're not getting in my head. I'm like, well, that's a weak follow-up to a very controversial closing line in that second segment between them. Yeah, that's what Jeff said. You didn't beat me, you escaped me. Such a great promo. Ian Noel with a 15. At WrestleMania, Orton should win due to one mistake by Cody, and he slowly starts to turn heel and obsessed with the title, and he costs others their title shot. Bring on Homelander Cody. Yeah, it's not going to happen. As I sit here right now, I actually think Cody's winning. I think that segment on Friday made it a lot more likely that Cody wins at WrestleMania. Bobby Means, if you had the pen. I have it right here. What would you do with the IC title for WrestleMania? Me personally, I would not mind Penta and Lee running it back. Yeah, you only run it back, though, if you're going to do a title change. I don't see them doing that. So, no real point. I mean, he beat him decisively tonight. There's no obvious answer unless you just run back him and Dom, right? Because Dom wants his rematch, and then maybe you work Balor in there. And you end up with a multi-person match where Balor and Dom are both fighting for the championship. Dry Chicken says, TNA should borrow Maxine and Natalya. WWE has nothing to lose. Why would TNA want that? Just pick up the phone and say, hey, we're just gonna put them on you here. You guys can figure something out here for a while. Carlos Silva's like, yeah, no, we're good. We're all right, thanks. We'll have Maxxine Dupri against the Elegance brand. Devin from NJ. For a made guy, why has Seth Rollins' character been so inconsistent over the years? Is this partly the reason why he was never the guy? No, I mean, he was never the guy because he doesn't have it to be the guy. He's not in that category. It's a great talent, but he's not that guy. There's always something missing there. I can't explain why his character has been so inconsistent. Yeah, we got the Messiah, we got whatever the hell that weird phase was where he was dressing up as a clown every single week, and cackling, and now we have, Ninja Seth. I don't know. Guy can't figure out, what he wants to be. He's having an identity crisis. Shield Seth is still the best version of Seth Rollins. San Juan Wolf, the 1999. I feel like Roman has had the upper hand in every verbal exchange with Punk so far, barring that one time Punk mentions Sika. He needs something heavy to stop getting cooked every time they meet. Really, I don't think Roman had the upper hand tonight at all. I think Roman was actually pretty weak. I would definitely not say Punk has been getting cooked. I'm not sure if we're watching the same thing. Yes, Foot Clan Seth. He is a member of the Foot. The ladies' clothing didn't do it for you, Solo? No. Or the moon boots or whatever it was that he was wearing. Barry. How about Rollins allows Heyman to pick an opponent for him at WrestleMania? Heyman picks Gunther. In return, Gunther requests the Lesnar match at SummerSlam. Yeah, I mean, why? So what? He could retire Brock? I mean, that's such a tired gimmick at this point. I don't want to see that. So, like, Gunther would be a hired gun, but not a member of the Vision? Is that the idea? Yeah, I mean, look, if they truly don't have a good idea on what to do with Gunther, it's better than him not having a match at all, but I can't say I'm excited for that. Ian says, Nattie's last 2 wins prior to Raw was a pinfall win over Tegan Nox in 2023, then with Lyra Valkyria and Zelina Vega in a 6-woman tag. Yeah, well, that doesn't count though. She's unfortunately been used as a token wrestler filler. I have no memory of that Tegan Nox match. I mean, even still, that was 3 years ago, but holy shit, I have no memory of that whatsoever. I mean, it was a random TV match. Why would I? But holy shit. Jeremy says Randy's interview was filmed with a Game Boy camera. I think it was filmed with a potato. Big Money Jackson. People say Nattie is a legend, but she's not booked that way. It was too late to do anything with her. She is filler at this point and is not important. She's not booked as anything important on the show. I mean, you're not wrong about that. Arabian Night says, still no Mania direction for the two best in-ring performers in Io and Gunther. Also, was LA Knight supposed to face Y2J and plans were scrapped once he got extended? I don't think they had even thought that far yet as far as a WrestleMania. I put it this way. I don't think they had firmed up any WrestleMania opponent for him. So no, I don't think they had anything etched into a stone tablet for him and then something happened and they had her, change course. Philip says Grayson is basically New Day's token white friend. Yeah, I mean, I guess he is. And he's treated very badly. Ian says, I know this is off the wall, but if his contract is up by WrestleMania, what if it's Y2J calling Orton? He's backing up Orton while holding Cody accountable for not supposed to be getting another title shot. For not getting another title shot? In another company? Yeah, that's pretty off the wall, dude. I don't even think the wall is there. You got a hole in the wall. It wasn't too off the wall at first when you mentioned Jericho, but then that last part, you just went off a fucking cliff. You landed in a ditch somewhere. I don't know what one has to do with the other. Prince Vegeta started watching The Shield about a month and a half ago, and just started watching season 4. And just like Poncho is a solid-ass cat, it's a solid-ass show. It's more than a solid-ass show. It's a great show. Season 4 has Glenn Close. She's the big guest star for that season. I would say it's a great season. They're all great seasons. The Sheltered Kid. Maybe Randy was talking to Ted DiBiase Jr. Well, I mean, he can be talking to Ted DiBiase Jr. soon behind some glass. Right, with the little phone. Talk to him behind bars. That's where he belongs. And that's where he may end up very soon. One of the cast members of The Shield killed a guy. Yeah, unfortunately. Was it a guy? I thought he killed his wife. Yeah, it was the detective on the show that played Julian. He acted in a few things, but I know him from The Shield. Yeah. He went to prison for murder. Pretty crazy. Base Beer says, I miss Revolution. Did Ronda use bad reputation? Ronda did not get an entrance. Ronda showed up out of the crowd from out of nowhere. Dried Chicken says he would love to pull a big prank towards Brock and get him to crash out. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Let me know how that works out for you. Jeremy Rose says, we need Io and Tiffany. Don't know how we get there. Or Tiffany, Io, Julia three-way for the U.S. title. Gunther put LA Knight to sleep at WrestleMania to increase his heat. Oh, he puts him to sleep at WrestleMania to increase. That's going to really please all the LA Knight fans out there. Let's just have him go nighty-night to Gunther at WrestleMania. That'll make him happy. It's the opposite of happy. Big Money Jackson, it's not much else to say with the Roman and Punk feud. It feels like it. It feels like they're running out of shit to say. That's the problem. We're up to segment 3, and they're starting to run low on material. Presto Changeo. Random thought. Next year, if 2K27 gets a... Oh, by the way, how is 2K26? I gotta see if someone has a code or something. I haven't heard too much feedback about the new video game. But next year, if 2K27 gets a WrestleMania DLC pack, will it include the outfits for the women who have to wear all that full body gear? It'll make for some great WrestleMania moments. The Saudi gear. I don't know, but you can always tweet them and recommend it. Maybe they'll put it in there. We got Ian Noel, man. He's been on a roll tonight. I think they're going for a hint of AEW CM Punk storyline. Fragile Phil snaps like his AEW life. For sure, Punk will snap when Roman says, "Cry me a river, glass man." You think he's going to say that? For the 4 WWE fans that will know what he's talking about. Dried Chicken says, when Triple H and the WWE creative team try to get something cooking with these shows, it's like imagining Gordon Ramsay being okay with sending out cold food. Base Beerus, is the Big Bang Theory funny? I'm not the person to be asking about it. I didn't watch the show. Can't tell you. I didn't really think it was. That's why I didn't watch it. Jeremy says, Punk next week. Screw you. Chris Hero is better. Yeah. As the WWE audience goes, who? Who dat? Paul Carpenter. Have you ever seen the clip of the Giant Gonzalez entering the ring and Hulk Hogan backing out? Very rare. I believe it was a month before Hulk left. It was 2 months before Hulk left. That was actually, I want to say 2 days after the King of the Ring in 93 at a TV taping. So like Hogan had a camera explode in his face on June 13, 1993. And then I think that was June 15th. And he was totally fine. But yes, I actually did a whole segment on it on the Sound Off a while back. Because they had finally uploaded the clip on the Vault. So I talked about it. And it was very weird because Hogan was the babyface and he literally backs away like a coward and like runs away basically. You know, and it never aired on TV, but it was still shocking to see him participating in something like that and allowing that. Combat Theater, Brock, top 5 GOAT in-ring performers. Top 3 IMO. I mean, he's up there in the conversation. I don't know if he's top 5. I don't know if I'd go that far. You know, wrestling. People have to remember, wrestling has been it's been around for a while. Wrestling has been around for a very long time. There's been a lot of greats over the years who I think sometimes get forgotten about. Prince Vegeta says, talk about your Psalms. Talk about John 3:16. McFreeze 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. Yeah, it doesn't have really the same ring to it, does it? Chili McFreeze. Fang McFrost. That was the other recommended name. Fang McFrost. My God. They actually put these names on paper. MacTub says, I dislike how WWE revisionism claims Austin to be the biggest moneymaker when 99 to 01 Rock drew more, and Hogan was just as hot for far longer. I don't know. I don't know about the Rock thing. I mean, again, Austin, there were a lot of sellouts where he was the marquee star. There were the merch, the t-shirts, my God, all the stuff they put Austin branding on. It was just insane. But I think part of it also is it was him getting hot when he did that really sent the company sky high and allowed there to be the success that they did have with Rock and others that then followed. Austin was the first one to really get hot during that period in like a white hot kind of way. And it just launched them into the stratosphere. And he was the face of it. You know, he ended up being the face of that era. Big Money Jackson, who do you think wins the Rumble next year? I know it's kind of early, dude. I have no idea. It's way too early to be talking about the Rumble. Macta, best to worst in ring. Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock, Cena, Roman Reigns. Well, I mean, this is, in my opinion, it's tough with Austin because he was a very different wrestler in WCW. Like Stunning Steve was very different than just Brawler Austin, who was more limited in what he could do. I feel like if Austin had wrestled more like that early version of Austin up until 97, I would easily say him. But I'm kind of torn between Austin and Rock, honestly. I think, yeah, man, that is tough. I'm torn between Austin and Rock. I can kind of go either way right now with either of them. I'll go Austin. Austin and then Rock. Then I would go Hogan. I would go Roman. And then Cena. There you go. Base Bear is, how far do you think Dr. Death could have gone in WWF? I mean, he could have had a program with Austin and then he would have been beaten by Austin, and that's probably would have been the peak for him. I don't think it would have gone much further than that. Maybe if he had come into the company, 8 or 10 years earlier, might have had more success. Justin G, very original. Y2J sucks. The one you remember's good. I have no idea what you're talking about. Big Money Jackson, Ronda Rousey in AEW. Yeah, if you want my thoughts on that, it's in my review last night. I will definitely be talking more about Ronda tomorrow, though. How about that? Tune into the Uncrowned show. I'll be talking about Ronda Rousey tomorrow on the podcast. That'll be episode 6. Daniel, it's like they chat GPT their promos these days. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not at all be shocked. Lavelle. What's going on, Lavelle? JD stream just went out. Hope we get TNT. What do you mean went out? What does that mean? It shit the bed? I don't know what that means. Daniel says, my excitement for WrestleMania is still low. Thanks, Hunter. Well, look, the buck stops with him. If you love the Mania build, if you hate the Mania build, Paul Levesque is the chief content officer, so he's the one to direct all of your feedback to. Tracking Problem says Gunther and Sunther. Yes, in the photo. Yes. It was Gunther and Sunther. It's like Goldberg and Sunberg, right? Scotsy says bareback champ JD. Now you're thinking of Rocker Steiner. Power went out. And Sirens in New York. Oh, his power went out. Is that true? Did his power go out? That sucks. It was raining here in New York. We kind of had some storms. It wasn't too terrible in this area over here, but it was definitely, I could hear it before. It was definitely raining. Toya ain't nice. You're old. Them fighting words. Apparently, yeah. Don't call Phil old. Old man Phil. Daniel says, talk about my wife. Okay, but call me old. Grr. Yeah. That's how it came across. It was just funny to me. He wasn't even necessarily like insulting AJ Lee, but just even mentioning the man's wife. You would think Punk would get up in his face or something like that, but no. Didn't faze him. Matt says Roman and Punk promos stunk. Roman has regressed because of one promo. I wouldn't go that far. I thought it was weak. I wouldn't say he's regressed. Yeah, hopefully he'll get his power back soon if his power went out. Or maybe he's already got it back. Is he back? Maybe he's back. Base Beer is Punk loves calling Triple H and Rock by their names. Yes, he calls Dwayne a bald fraud. That's true. Forgot about that. That's where the bald fraud thing comes from. That Joe guy. The Zamboni segment was in Detroit. Just wanted to know if HOG has any plans for a show in Detroit. My son and I would love to come to a show. At the moment, no. There's no imminent plans. Right now, we're focused on Long Island this Saturday. We have Las Vegas coming up next month. We have Los Angeles 2 weeks after that. And we have other plans. Is Detroit possible? It is possible, yes. Matt says, will HOG ever come to Ohio? Would love to attend. All of these places are possible. It's all possible. It just depends on finding the right time, the right venue, and the right attractions for the show. And what makes the most sense. So if it makes sense to do, then at some point we will do it. But those two particular cities, nothing that's imminent. If it was, believe me, you would hear me talking about it. Big Money Jackson, wrestlers that you liked the least. Just ever? Like, just ever, right? In general? I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers I don't really care for over the years. Ones that I like the least. I don't know. Is there anybody that I just really detested? Like I would actively turn the television off when they were on screen? I don't think so. There were gimmicks and certain wrestlers maybe I didn't care for, but I'm trying to think when I grew up and I was watching wrestling, was there somebody who I really just did not care for? Like at all? I guess I didn't really care much for like Dino Bravo. I kind of liked Earthquake, but I didn't really care for Dino Bravo. I didn't really care for Nikolai Volkov. He was fucking boring. I don't know. There were wrestlers who overstayed their welcome that I really grew to just not want to see at all, like Goldberg. The learning tree, people like that. Tom says Brie Bella. The Miz. Lucky Dog says The Miz. I feel bad now that I singled out Dino Bravo. I didn't really mention it. It's like, what did Dino do to him? Where'd that come from? I don't know. You asked the question. Base Beer says, my parents went through ordeals with Sprint Mobile. Well, I had AT&T back when it was still singular with a C. And I got rid of that shit as soon as I could because that shit sucked. That was years ago. Jake Brower. WWE posted the main event of WrestleMania 34 on their channel today. Well, I can't wait to not watch it. I watched that live in person. It sucked. One of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time. Why would they post that to their YouTube channel? Aaron, do you think Tatum Paxley will do well on the main roster? She's getting very over with the NXT crowd, almost as a Mankind type underdog. I don't really see her ascending to great heights on the main roster. I could see her maybe having like a niche following. Like you said, if she's got like this whole spunky underdog thing going on for her. I can't tell you I see her as like a future world champion or anything like that. I don't see it. I think there are other people on that NXT roster who have greater potential, I think, to ascend higher than her. Base Beer says Seth is behind Punk, Cody, Reigns, and maybe more. Yeah, I would agree with that. Jeremy says Roman cooked. Meanwhile, the stove is off. Super Pony, do you think someone with a brain Randy was talking about is KO? That was my first thought. That's why I said Kevin Owens. But then he threw the line in there about, wrestling is, more than one royal family or whatever it was. And I'm like, I don't know how that would apply to KO. I would love to see Kevin Owens in a promo segment on TV, though. Jeremy says after WrestleMania, Nattie gets future endeavored and wins the Owen Cup months later. No, thank you. Alex says, Brother Solo, hear me out on this. What if Orton was on the phone with The Rock as Dwayne convinced Orton to turn on Cody since Cody refused Rock's offer? Similar to WrestleMania 40, both main events are connected. I don't think Rock needs to be involved in this. I see what you're saying. I'm going to say no. I don't think it needs Rock. That's the whole thing. Like this story can be told without The Rock. Why? Why are both main events centered around family? Because they want to make it deeply personal. Those are some of the best stories. You bring family into it, you have a personal element. You should be able to invest in the story a little bit more, right? Makes it a little more personal that way. Base Beer is Friday the 13th, Pi Day, 316 Day, and St. Patrick's Day. Big week. Well, I know tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, but even more importantly, it's Uncrowned Podcast Day. That's more important. Cameron Spencer, $4.99. Why didn't you like my idea of Black versus Priest in the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania to properly close their feud and then forming the Ministry 2026? Why don't you like that? Because I'm smart. Thank you, Cameron. And Base Bear says, I think we get another WWE restaurant. I don't know when. Well, I would say if they're smart and they know what's good for them, that won't happen because restaurants, I think, are generally money losers. So I don't really see what's to be gained by that. Didn't work out the first time. Although the real estate in Times Square, kind of pricey. I'm sure that wasn't cheap. Hank Chinaski. When Drew McIntyre couldn't turn his head to the left, I was saying that his opponents should attack him from his left side. They found that funny. I mean, that sounds like a good strategy to me. Base Beer is Randy was on the phone with Ted DiBiase Jr. Well, Ted Jr. does get one phone call. So maybe that was his one phone call. Super Pony, if Randy was talking to Flair, that would suck. Yes, it would. I don't want to see that. I'm hoping that's not the case. And Slushy Glue. Shield or The Wire? Wire wins for me. It's a tough one. It's not tough at all for me. The answer is The Shield. I think The Wire is also a great show, but I found The Wire to be slower and more boring than The Shield. because it's the nature of The Wire, right? You're sitting around in your car. There's a lot of sitting around and doing nothing. The Shield. That was easy. Man, you guys killed it with the questions in the super chat. I love it. I love it, especially when, I was live last night at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning and dead to the world. Everybody was like, everyone's ready to just conk out. This was good. But we have not one, but 2 installments of Be the Booker to get to that you guys unlocked. So let's not waste any more time. But first, we do have a super chat here from Isaac. Look at this. Isaac Vasquez with a $5 super chat. HOG should come to Phoenix, Arizona, especially in the summer. It's only about 115 degrees. Also, we have the most crack addicts, according to The Rock. I do remember that. Yeah, I don't think I would survive in my suit if it was 115 degrees. We have run certain buildings where the air conditioning is not working, and that's usually not good. Not if you're dressed up in a suit. I mean, I'd have to be there wearing my my birthday suit just to be comfortable. Hey, nobody wants to see that. They're not paying VIP ticket prices to see that, I can promise you. Be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
Wouldn't it be something, though, if we land on Stone Cold Steve Austin and Be the Booker? It kind of feels like we should. I'd be very disappointed now if we don't. It is 316 day. So we have 2 rounds to get to. This is round number 1. So our tag team match is commencing with Kane and the Big Show, which is not what I wanted to see here on 316 day. Their total combined weight is also quite a bit more than 316. I think one of Big Show's legs was probably 316. They will be taking on the Toxic Turtles. This was a real team that worked a handful of matches in the WWF. It could not have been comfortable wrestling in those costumes. But the funny thing about them is that when they would land on their back, they were on their shell, and they would just kind of wave their legs around because they were unable to move. And so the partner had to come in the ring and actually turn them over off their shell so they can get back to their feet. So they were very committed to the gimmick. And I think coming up with this gimmick, they should have been committed. Let's move on to the women's match now. Yeah, holy letdown, yeah. That match was getting nothing but a buzz. That one was easy. Okay, all right. So we have a women's triple threat match to book. Number 1 is going to be AJ Lee, who was in action on Raw tonight. AJ Lee, the Intercontinental. So this is, I guess, officially a championship match. AJ Lee putting her title on the line against Asuka. See, Asuka said if I had the match tonight, I would beat AJ Lee. So we have booked Asuka and AJ Lee, but we have to add a third person, though, because it is a triple threat. Tegan Knox. Tegan Knox, AJ Lee, and Asuka. As long as her knee holds up, should be okay. Actually, I guess both knees actually were operated on. But not a bad match. Not a bad match at all. I think Asuka takes the title. That's my prediction there. Now we come to the main event. Yes, Tegan is eating the pain. Well, or she's taking an Asuka lock and tapping out. Either way. All right, our first of 2 main events. Come on now. The pink and black attack, baby. Bret the Hitman Hart. Going to be taking on Moose. You know what, Bret and Moose? I think that actually would have been a very good match. See Moose bumping around there for the Hitman. Hitman selling for Moose. Interesting match. Definitely have never landed on those two together in the same match. So there you go. That's the 2 out of 3 right there. Not bad. Not bad. But now we have stipulations. So when we go to the second round, the way this works, if you're new here, because we did have some new subscribers earlier, is we're going to run it back, but this time we're going to add stipulations and pick new matches. And there are a bunch of stipulations. I actually have a list of new ones I have to add. But let's see what our stipulation, our first one is going to be. It's going to be a ladder match. Okay, so that's what we're looking for here. We're going to be booking a tag team ladder match. Which basically, I mean, let's just be honest, okay? It's basically a TLC. Team number 1. Sting and Lex Luger. Once upon a time were WCW Tag Team Champions. Sting and this is what? What is this? This is probably 95, right? I'm guessing this looks like 95 to me. Sting and Luger in a ladder match, defending their tag team titles against... Fuck. Wash away the stipulation. Ladder match is gone. We have to book a fatal 4-way. We're not getting out of here so fast. All right, well, we have one team. We know Sting and Luger. Ooh, look at this. Kane and X-Pac. That means we're getting Sting and Kane in the same match. I like it. Okay. This is going in a good direction here. Oh my God. Okay, now we're cooking with oil. We got Sting and Lex Luger. We got Kane and X-Pac. We got the Hardy Boys. We got to pick one more. Come on, we can't fuck this up. We can't fuck this up. We need a strong team here. Why is the button not working? I'm hitting the button. There we go. All right. There you go. All right. Wasn't working. DIY. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. How about that for a fatal 4-way match? Sting and Lex Luger, Kane and X-Pac, the Hardy Boys, and DIY. It's almost like you kind of picked one from different eras, kind of. And now Johnny Gargano is just laying around on top of a production case every week. Sad. Isn't it? Isn't it very sad? All right, our second stipulation here. Ooh, 3 stages of hell, or as I call it, Friday Night SmackDown. 3 stages of hell, a women's match. Should be interesting. I wonder what each stipulation will be, though. How are we going to work this? Anyway, we have Medusa in a 3 stages of hell match. Going to be taking on Sol Ruca. How about that? Alundra Blaze and Sol Ruca. Talk about the generation of the past, the generation of the present. Yeah, what are the 3 stages? I suppose what we need to do is bring the stipulations back up, and we have to pick 3. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to pick 3 stipulations, and these will be the stipulations for the Medusa Sol Ruca match. First match is going to be... the first match is going to be a scaffold match. Oh, man. If they survive the first match, then they move on to the second match, which will be a blindfold match. Well, that's great. So when they fall off the scaffold and they have concussed themselves and they have a head wound, we're going to put a giant sack over their head so they can't see. So that will be match number 2. And then match number 3 is going... Well, I mean, of course it has to be. It'll just be a fucking Inferno match, of course. How did I not guess that? Basically, we are going to murder these women, is what I am getting out of this here. This is the most unlucky match that you have ever seen. A scaffold match to a blackout match, a blindfold match. It may as well be a blackout match, and then an Inferno match. I mean, this is worse than Texas Death that we saw at Revolution last night. This is a torture session. Yes, they're not going to survive this one. Oh boy, that went in a totally grim direction there, didn't it? Poor Sol Ruca. Yeah, B the Booker is quite bloodthirsty tonight. I don't know if we could top that, but we got one match left to go here. All right, what are we doing? I have to pick the stipulation. That doesn't count. I have to pick the stipulation. I don't even know what I'm doing. All right, main event stipulation. Oh, this seems tame by comparison. We're doing a table match. This is literally 3 stages of hell. You know what? It really is. It actually fits the stipulation quite well. It is 3 stages of hell. If the first one doesn't kill you, then one of the next 2 will. Yeah, this is very tame by comparison now. We're going to have a table match. Well, I guess we have to have the come down match. So the main event is going to be the come down match. And oh my fucking God. Wait, I hit the wrong... I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. Like Okada, I hit the wrong button. No. I did not give that the belt. In fact, you know what? Fuck that. Wipe that clean. I'm not picking the Brooklyn fucking Brawler at 2 o'clock in the morning in a tables match in my main event. Fuck off. We're not doing it. In fact, I'm picking a different stipulation. My finger slipped. All right, well, that's a little bit better. We'll have a steel cage match. That's a little bit better. Yeah, Brooklyn Brawler got attacked by one of the masked men. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh. Well, you see, what happened is his connection got knocked out, and so he was unable to work, but he's got to make money. So he decided to participate in a steel cage match since he's not able to stream. Wow. JD from NY against Bullet Club AJ Styles in a steel cage match. I can't believe I'm about to do this. We have to give this the bell. This is New Japan AJ. This is IWGP champion AJ Styles. Look at that belt. Can you believe they ever changed away from that belt? What the fuck were they thinking? Getting away from that title design. You know, I got to say, this is the second time now that we've landed on JD here and Be the Booker. And the first time he got Chad Gable as an opponent. And now he gets AJ Styles as an opponent. He's very lucky. There's a lot of other people in Be the Booker that would love to rip him to shreds. And he's going to get 2 actually decent matches out of it. Was that a clean sweep? I don't even know if that was that a clean sweep. I don't even remember. We'll play the chime. It was a clean sweep. Okay, I wasn't even sure. This felt like a disaster of a round to me, but apparently we had a clean sweep. I don't know how that happened. Holy shit! What a round that was. Dream matches for JD. Oh, he's on cloud 9 right now. Believe me, of all the people that he could have ended up in a cage with, he'll take AJ Styles. Could be a lot worse than that. Hank with a super chat says, was the Shield faction based on the TV show? No. No, it was CM Punk's protective shield. It was a play on words. Andre Jefferson says it was Alistair on the phone. He had been saying that he saw the 2009... you know what? That is interesting. That is interesting. I hadn't considered that. What if it was Alistair Black that he was on the phone with? We got Chico Channel. Ever feel like the Lord Tenzai era felt like a dream? I feel like Lord Tenzai felt like a dream. He came and went pretty quick, and he got a win over John Cena. So when we talk about like trivia questions, and you think of all the people that got wins over John's, like pinfall wins over John Cena, who would have thought that Lord Tenzai and Kevin Federline would be on the same level? That's about the only thing that Lord Tenzai and Kevin Federline have in common, is that they both have wins over John Cena. Devin says, was Cody winning the title back a panic move to sell more tickets for Mania, or was it always the plan? I'm sure it was always the plan. The plan to put the title on Drew wasn't really a plan. I think they always intended for Cody to walk into WrestleMania with that belt. And Mike Crodic, C Nation. Oba putting his foot on Brock's chest was crazy. Yeah, even crazier that Brock told him to. Because Brock knew what a great image of dominance that would be. And he was right. And Drew McIncock, channel member for 37 months. Mini Batista or Mini Kane? Buy or sell? Mini Kane. Actually, if you would have put Mini Vader in there, I would have gone with Mini Vader. Remember Mini Vader? Mini Mankind? Mini Goldust? Max Mini? That feels like a fever dream, now that I think about it. Anyway. What a stream. What a stream this turned out to be. Holy shit. You guys killed it tonight. Thank you for the fun. Next time I'm live with you here on this channel, will be the Dynamite post show on Wednesday. That's the post-Revolution Dynamite, which apparently Tony Khan at the post-show scrum last night said something to the effect of, this show on Wednesday is going to be really crazy. So we'll see what he means by that. Before that, though, tomorrow night I'm going to be live, as long as his internet works, I'm going to be live with JD on his channel for Tuesday Night Titans. Tell him about his big cage match with AJ Styles. But earlier in the day tomorrow, episode number 6 of the Uncrowned Wrestling Show, which I do hope you will all check out. We got a lot to unpack. It's going to be a good time. So again, that'll be on the Ariel Helwani Show feed. Make sure you're subbed there, or at least keep an eye out. Should be dropping later on in the afternoon. Go back and check out the Revolution full review here on this channel if you missed it, which I'm sure many of you did, late last night. It was a very late show. But otherwise, we're going to hit all our usual streams this week. Dynamite Wednesday, SmackDown Friday, and House of Glory on Long Island. Hopefully I get to see some of you on Saturday. I got to start working on my notes. I got a lot of work to do. So anyway, be well, stay safe. Have yourselves a great rest of your night. Thank you for all the love. Boots, you're awesome. And I'll see you back here real soon, live on YouTube for more Sound Off. Until then, I'll see you for Uncrowned.